Where we left off was about a day and a half ago, actually. Z, you're going to go ahead. It's March 8th now. That is a Saturday. Now, and the reason I mentioned the day is because it might be a little relevant when we get to the missions in a moment. So, if anyone's wondering why I'm bringing that up, what Snarg, well, pretty much just Snarg, has learned a fair amount of info as he's been going about town, trying to ask about things, trying to ask what's going on, that kind of a thing. He can choose to share that with the group or not. That's up to him. Snarg. Oh, right. I never actually did your will save. Okay, I'll reveal the results of that in a minute. Now, I like keeping you in suspense. What can I say? So Snarg has just been out getting a bunch of info, and he went back to the room, and then I guess I'll give you the results of that in a minute. Over the previous night, Firnasil and Rakarg were told they were going to be taken away in order to deal with the orb, in order to translate, decode, and transcribe the information in the orb as part of the deal. In case you're curious, yes, this means you also get to keep the knowledge orb. But they will be getting all of the knowledge from it, obviously, as part of the bargain.
Does that get rid of one of the favors?
No.
Because I was under the assumption that we had 4 favors and we kept the knowledge orb.
Well, you are keeping the knowledge orb, and that is part of the deal, in addition to the favors.
That's a pretty bum deal.
Well, you only have to do 3 favors, not 4.
Oh, okay. That's slightly more acceptable.
Your favor and 2 more. Now, based, well, I'll let
My favor
Snarg...
went superbly. I just want to let you know.
Yes, Sis over here, Z will be showing back up the morning of the 8th, having completed her mission, reported in. Well, actually, that leads me to my first question. Z, would you like to translate to your new location somehow, even though I can't think of any way to do that, or would you like to take their offer and have basically a cab sent out for you?
I thought I was sleeping.
Yes, but when you wake up after you've finished your mission, because this
well,
is
I can't
after
translate somewhere I've never been, so I would be taking a cab.
Okay, so she will actually show up closer to about 10 a.m., give or take. It's not actually that far of a trip. You are currently in, as our viewers can see over here.
Pause.
What?
It is my understanding that we came to the compound on Friday.
Well,
is that incorrect?
That was incorrect. I double-checked my own calendar. You actually came to the compound.
So we came to the compound on Friday, which means I completed my mission by
the end, or on Thursday. Yes.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
So I completed my mission. My mission took Friday day, and then I slept Friday night.
And then Saturday morning you offered to take the cabin.
Got it.
And that means you basically spent Friday day... Excuse me. Well, obviously you slept Thursday evening there, and then Friday day you were traveling here, and then did your general various checks and whatnot, and that's when Firnasil and Rakarg left. To make sure we're all on the same page here. Now, for Firnasil and Rakarg, as I mentioned in earlier commentary, they're incommunicado at the moment. You don't even have a way of getting a hold of them. If you try to do this, they're out of range, wherever the hell they are. So, for all intents and purposes, consider them not assets for everything that's about to be upcoming until they re-link up with you. Prior to leaving, Firnasil mentioned to Snarg and to Guido both that she understands that this whole thing is rather distasteful, but she does believe that with this will give them, that this deal will work, that it'll get them access to what they need, and that's what really matters, especially to her. She really wants to get on this Garland thing, and so she is willing to put up with this crap, and she hopes you are too.
That's how she phrased it too, this Garland thing.
Yeah, basically. Now, Z, you will be arriving that morning. Snarg, you actually succeeded your will save. So you are no longer negatively inclined towards Guido. However,
but does that change his perceptions of those memories of being negatively inclined toward Guido?
Yes, because he did not succeed it enough. So you have no memory of being antagonistic towards Guido. In your mind, nothing has changed. Now... Yeah, go figure. Now, Guido, before Rakarg left, he said, look, I'm going to give you a little bit of a gift as a final thing here. This is all I can do for the moment, and he gives you a ring. Now, this ring has the ability to cast Vanish at a decent level. It basically will give you approximately an hour of stealth on activating. It has 2 uses per day.
Z will totally trade you that for hers.
I suggest you keep yours.
Okay. So Vanish is the spell that he had cast on me previously?
Yeah, that's what he had been casting. It's a yellow mage spell.
Okay.
And he says use it wisely. Now, because of how incredibly awesome of an arc weaver he is, I actually already did the rolls. That's how I determined this stuff. There's no uses. It is just per day, 2 per day. So it's infinite as long as you don't exceed its allowance.
Oh. Okay.
Z will totally take that once we get your desolation thing figured out.
So that's what you've got as far as that thing.
We'll see.
Z, when you arrive, well, okay. First of all, you two, are you doing anything that Saturday morning prior to 10 a.m.?
Well, I'm assuming that we've already done the info and stuff, and I need to spend time to actually product placement to take care of Guido in the room. So I'll be getting him his food and all that sort of stuff. Because I'm assuming he doesn't want to vanish just to go get food.
Well, yeah. I really doubt he wants to waste such a valuable thing on such a non-valuable thing.
And I'll come in with the food, nonchalantly, like I've been doing every morning.
Hey, what's up?
And
Food.
saying, hey, this is what I found out. XYZ, what we already talked about.
And what does Guido say?
So I'll take the plate and I'm taking it rather reservedly because I'm expecting your mood to change.
No, I actually bring up this one big plate and we both eat off of it. Because why would I bring up 2 plates?
I could just picture Guido, this giant hulking Lugian, just like reaching, picking up like a bite, and then coming over, and then backing like 5 feet up and nibbling.
And I'm like, just got my legs crossed, and they're like, hey, so
Guido,
So I heard about this, happening in town. There's been another battle up near Neluvia. Here, eat some more. Got some orange juice.
It's really good orange juice. Actually, I was about to pull up what the
more
special
product
was today.
placement.
Barbecued tiger fish with papaya, and they have a few drink options. One is orange juice with brandy, one is chocolate milk with brandy, and one is brandy with brandy.
Ooh.
I'll have a brandy.
So they had brandy and brandy here. I wasn't sure what that meant, but they gave me one.
It's right there. It says Canada Dry on the label. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's really good.
But you got to kind of turn it sideways and go.
Give me a
Oh,
Scott.
right,
over
hang on. Gotta do the Pepsi thing.
There you go. And then
I can't do it. I give up. I'm gonna go silent so you can keep info dumping.
right. There's been a battle up there. Found a little bit about the place where we're going. It's a little weird. It's an underwater mine. Haven't really heard anything like that before, but supposedly it's valuable. There's a whole bunch of older buildings underneath the water too. Supposedly it was some kind of land that sunk underneath there or something.
Interesting.
That gives even more value.
Do they know when the buildings are supposedly from?
No.
Nope. Nah.
Okay.
So it's not in recorded history.
Well, it's more like this is really vague rumors. This is literally the word on the street, and I do mean literally. Snarg was just kind of going around listening in, because there's a lot of chat in the town right now, because a lot of events have happened lately.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly Z bursts in the door. Wrong! There you are.
Close the door. All right. Wait. Come in. Then close the door. I'll open the
don't
door.
understand why you have me do. No, I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to them.
Hang on. What's your strength mod?
Me?
No, her.
Is it French doors or is it one door?
It's 2 doors. What's your strength mod?
I don't know. Not enough against Snarg.
No. I need a number.
Hold on.
We're gaming. Pull up your sheet.
I have my sheet up. I was just tabbed to us instead of tabbed to it.
Craziness.
And it's on the OOC tab. My strength is 2.
All right. You rip the door off of its hinges because you rolled a 20.
Excuse me?
Rough night.
Actually, Z should be in a great mood right now.
He is in a great mood, so I actually probably am having this reaction holding the door just laughing.
Burst. Doors goes up, hinges, rainbow spill up behind you.
Wave the door at them and be like, "Hi!"
We got 2 rooms, right?
Yes.
We might want to get that fixed before somebody walks past.
Somebody walks past.
I hide.
It's okay, they didn't look in.
Well, no, they're
Back up
just
against
like
the wall.
they're just like what?
Yeah, we had a busy night.
And then they see the female elf and the male gnoll, and then they turn around and
The
go the
female
other way.
elf is the one holding the doors.
I didn't see anything. What
That's right.
happens in Machi stays in Machi.
Ow.
So Z is here now, and shortly thereafter, the handler comes up and grousingly arranges for the repair of the door. And I can hear my sister in real life because she's yelling so loudly. I'll go ahead and pause for a minute. So I want to show off something actually really quick. I didn't mean to steal this. This is actually a friend of mine's, but this is the D6. Now it may not.
Metal?
Yeah, it's metal. Now it may not
Nice.
look it, but this is probably the best way I can get across the size difference here. I actually used to use this specifically as a marker for large creatures or occasionally huge creatures on the grid. And it was actually really good at that. I really didn't mean to steal it. Sorry, Sandra. It's great for that kind of thing. I don't like.
Mail it back to you if you really want it back.
I don't roll it though, and here's why. I don't know if you could quite hear that, but it just went like this. It didn't roll. It just went clonk and then skid a bit. So yeah. Anyways, so okay,
I have my pretty dices,
they're very
including
pretty.
my 2 that I were standard die and I colored
Speaking
with
of
glass
which-
paint.
Have I showed off these beauties? Whoops, wrong way. There we go.
Those are the ones that look like mine, right?
I think so. These are the ones I just pulled out for the last session. They're blue. Well, they're primarily violet with blue highlights.
Mine are violet with violet highlights.
I like mine better because they're awesome. I also have violet with black highlights, but that's my D6s. Anyways, okay, so
They
that's,
might be violet with black. I can't tell what color that's supposed to be.
so the handler shows up and he arranges for the repair of the door, and you move to the other room while that's being worked on. Oh, speaking of which, okay, no reaction to Guido, and so he's just like, all right.
Thank you.
I take it you two gentlemen and you, madam, are ready for your assignments.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
also
we
going to. I'm also going to assume. Oh, by the, I can finally do this. This means out of character. I've actually been doing this for so long that even when I didn't have the
Oh.
video cam, I would actually do this in real life. I'd be like, well, hang on.
This
I gotta
is
say
ours,
something.
and I would do that involuntarily too.
But this is what this means. If I say this, I'm talking out of character. This is
Okay.
the universal sign for me, and I've been doing it for 2.5 decades. So, out of character, have Snarg, if you could do me a favor and go ahead and continue to info dump to Z everything you've learned, and then I need to know if you're asking her anything about her mission, basically.
Oh, okay.
So you got an orange juice with brandy, by the way.
It's very good. It's actually more orange juice than brandy, so it's rather sweet.
It's okay. Z likes it.
The barbecued tigerfish is excellent.
Don't really want barbecue tiger fish
It comes
for
with
breakfast.
eel fish, or eel sauce.
I will totally eat the barbecued tiger fish. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So I can eat sushi now. We figured out what the problem was.
Yeah, we did.
But
Avocado.
Cream cheese probably would
that's
also
fine.
have the same reaction based on how she described it. Texture thing.
The texture of it, yeah, the texture of it and I eat it, the fact that the roll is so large that, and my mouth is so small that the roll actually takes up like all of my mouth,
Yeah, she has a tiny
And-
mouth.
Then the avocado, so it's like halfway triggering my gag reflex just because it's so big, and then the avocado texture is just like, oh, and then I just can't eat it. So I can eat sushi now. Be excited for me.
Yeah.
If you like sushi. If you don't like sushi, you don't have to be
Yeah.
excited.
We love sushi.
Awesome. We got an interlude from Mr. Wigglers.
His
I
name
don't
is
It's
Muffin.
Mitten.
I was just saying, I don't actually know his name. You know, I just
And
have a
it's a
thought.
she.
She. I got so close, so used to forcing my mind cats to male, so I could get used to Mateus.
Oh, I
It's
disturbed
not
her.
his fault he was born with a penis.
Technically, it is.
No, it's not. Technically, it's just Daddy's fault for giving him that chromosome.
That is true. So,
And
anyways,
besides, anything that you start off with a technically, rule number 3, means it's not true.
technically it's rule
Your
7.
argument is immediately invalid.
Moving on.
Right, what are we doing? Info
Is it
dump.
never-
That's right.
Info dumping and or asking her about her mission.
Right. Well, as soon as he gets in, we'll offer some of the stuff if she hasn't gotten some already. Like, so yeah, I've been...
I brought one with me from downstairs. Pick it
Okay,
up.
good, good. Well, I've been asking around town the slight amount of time we've been here and found a few things about what we're doing here. The mine is apparently one that's underwater. Kind of odd, but it's got a whole bunch of sunken land with some old buildings on it. And now we don't know what they are. But that apparently makes it a lot more valuable.
Have we heard any news of a recent, within the last 10 years or so, earthquake or something in this region, or a thresh uprising? Was that a no? Okay.
Oh, and also on our war front, we've there was a battle that happened near the border between Alluvia and Navaria, around near Al-Jalima. Don't know what came of it, but apparently it was bloody. And I think Guido was the one who succeeded in this, so he may be the one that chimed in, but we did find out a little bit about the history of the town.
Oh, yes, Guido is actually the one who succeeded at that role. If he would like to info dump, assuming he remembers anything I said.
Which part did I get the information on?
You got the information on the town,
answer to that is I don't
basically,
remember.
the history of it. Why it's significant, why Burun live here,
Oh,
cultural,
For
societal, politics,
Machi.
etc.
right. Okay. So about 15 years ago, there were some fishing trawlers that, in the process of being out fishing, they ran across an ancient airship. It was a cargo transport, but because of that find and the structure of the airship was still intact, so they were able to basically reverse engineer the airship for all of the show military. Is that, or just all the show?
Pretty much
or
the show
airships?
military, because most other airships are commercial, which is independent of nation.
Okay, so the show military has been able to reverse engineer the structure from this ancient airship into the current military's airships. So
Any idea where this airship is?
Was
the original that they found?
Oh, so they've actually physically deconstructed it.
This was several years ago, about 15 years ago.
Yeah, about 15 years ago. So if there's anything left from that original find, I don't think it's going to be useful to us in any way.
Yeah.
And then about 4 months ago, there's
This is the important part.
not
Pressure.
not sure who originated it, but they shut off all foreign trade.
Just to this city.
Yeah, just to Machi. They're only allowing local trade within other show cities to Machi.
I'm surprised you're not drinking straight out of the pitcher, Snarg.
Well, that's a little bit awkward. I used to use a glass.
It's kind of suspicious. It's amazingly convenient because of what has happened worldwide. It increased trade for Machi within show, and decreased a lot of trade outside of show. So it's amazingly convenient for Machi and amazingly inconvenient for everywhere else. That about sum it
Okay.
up?
That's a pretty good summary, I think.
So the connotation being here that maybe one of the head merchant peoples might have been behind that issue that we got ourselves caught up in way back when we discovered the dissolving people potion.
I'm not saying
What was
that.
I
that
don't
town?
have an answer.
That was all. No, that was.
It was the one where they met.
Hang
Z.
on, I've got the map up. Give me just a moment, because that's way up here in Navarre. That
It's a
was in
port.
Alcorinth. Way back in the day, as they say. And if you I'm not saying anything because that's purely you guys speculating, in case you're wondering.
So we know a little bit about the history here. I'm wondering if they did find something like that in the Brenda Diamond Mine. That may be why it's so valuable.
Yeah, I found one.
Found one.
Fishbone, sorry.
Oh.
Ah,
Well, be careful when you're eating that striped tiger fish. Sometimes they leave a little bit in there.
Yeah, they really actually prefer fish bones in general because the Moorsmen have extremely powerful jaws and 2 rows of teeth. And
Unlike
Sclavi,
Olugian.
just kind of don't chew.
inhale things and then they disintegrate.
Yeah, Sclavi actually don't chew. They don't have teeth per se. They do have fangs, but that's it.
It's really awkward because, you go into a big group at the meal, you're just when they're eating.
No, they've learned how to be polite about it.
Well, all right, it's a bunch of dock workers.
Yes,
I mean,
they
come on.
kind of go over here and go.
Yo.
And they
They
cough a
don't
bunch
do that with
apparently.
popcorn in their mouth and then get it stuck.
Apparently, Sis would be a very poor Sclavi.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn it, I need 3 more.
So that's a little bit of what we know about the history and some rumors as to what's going on here.
Okay.
So you seem very cheerful. What? I'm assuming it went okay. Hmm?
Yep, everything's done, wrapped up on my end. Apparently, I had a schedule.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, what did you do?
Well, I went to the place, I did the thing, I kind of framed some people, I'm assuming.
And you are
Okay.
assuming because that was not your assignment.
I know I am.
I'm just stating for the record of the video that we're recording.
This is in character too.
Yes, that was
No,
in character.
no, him drinking like that is in character.
Oh. Are you... With that facial expression.
This is in character too.
Snarg, how many of those brandy with brandies have you had?
It's my first.
I thought he gave it to Guido.
Oh, sorry. Here.
He stole your drink. I think that's a call for spontaneously getting a level of barbarian and enraging.
Well, if I can get no, okay. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Insane.
No, you
Barbarians
are
are
getting
fun.
the level of barbarian Snarg Guido is.
I know it's free level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anybody could use a free level.
It's true.
All right.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I do have to mention something. What happened with Sis does actually involve a retcon. It wasn't originally intended to be set up like that, but not only Sis probably liked it because it amused the hell out of her, but I liked it because it actually made so much more sense and made a lot of behind-the-scenes
It was
things.
my idea, too, by
It was
the way.
fully her idea. It made a lot of behind-the-scenes things make a lot more sense, so I decided to go ahead and go with the retcon.
Okay.
And so the retcon is, as you recall, I mentioned you guys hearing rumors about some group who we will not name here being, responsible for certain horrible actions and the political ramifications with regards to Olivia and Show. That never happened.
Okay.
That's all it comes down to. That's the retcon. Never happened.
Right. So we're actually a little more happy. All right. So I suppose while we're eating our breakfast, we'll turn towards the handler because it seems like he's wanting to say something.
The handler's actually kind of doing what I've been doing in character. He's just sitting there with his hands, just kind of, listening, not really reacting much. Just like, whatever, just listening in. You get the impression, actually, no, you don't. You get to roll a wisdom check, all of you.
+2.
4.
2.
Guido, what was yours?
2.
2.
Okay, nothing seems amiss whatsoever.
To any of us?
Nope.
I take it I rolled bad.
Actually, there was some decent numbers, but not enough.
Okay.
Not even for a little bit. So, anyways, he's just sitting there, and near as you can tell, he is just like totally zoning out, like just kind of waiting patiently.
Well, if everyone pretty much goes into that, that silent phase, we're all just sitting here looking at each other, chewing because we have nothing else to share. Then we'll turn
No,
to
I'm
him
going
and
to
say,
kind of stop periodically and be like, so
"Oh, okay."
you mentioned your mission and what we're doing out here. And I'm going to kind of turn to the handler and I'm going to be, exactly what are we doing? Because I don't think I've been told that yet.
Well, if you're ready, if you don't mind me chatting while you guys enjoy breakfast. You notice he hasn't eaten, by the way, or has no food in front of him, I should say.
Oh,
If
well,
you're
offer
done
him
chatting, no, thank you. If you're done, I could go ahead and discuss some things with you. I always forget how it is dealing with your kind.
I offer him the glass of brandy that
What
Snarg had
race is
taken
our
from
handler?
Moorsman.
Okay, so when he says your kind, he's not referring to our race. He's referring to, and therefore the cultural connotations therein. But he's referring to adventurers.
That is actually correct, and
Okay.
in my notes for this session, which I spent like several hours making, the very first note is that I have 2 speeches I wanted to get out here. They're not actually speeches, but anyway, so the handler is just kind of sitting there, is like, God, I don't know what we'd do without you guys, but I swear, adventurers.
So unorganized.
Don't get me wrong. Don't take this as some kind of insult. Adventurers are highly useful. Your type is always very powerful, very useful. You move in and you destroy something, or you take something, or you kill something, and you're really good at that. So I respect that. I really do. But you guys are just so disruptive to everything. Every adventure I've ever seen is the same. Every single one of you. No wonder the guild started breaking up. Although, I suppose, in the interests of fairness and fair play, I should mention to you that you aren't exactly the first guys off the boat, if you know what I mean.
So we're not the first crew you've sent at this.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant at all, ma'am. What I mean by this is a lot of adventurers have basically been becoming, for lack of a better term, I don't even have a really good word for that. I suppose that you could say that they're becoming enforcers, or agents, or mercenaries for groups like, well, and he hesitates to say the name out loud, but groups like that I represent, and it's becoming more and more common as the guild has been disintegrating over the last year or 2 or 5. So,
It's not.
in the interests of full disclosure, it would be worth noting that it is possible, given that we're going up against another group in the course of these actions, you might encounter others of your kind, so you might want to be aware of that.
Well, if you're right, we'll see him coming from a mile away.
Probably. And that's kind of the funny thing, isn't it? Your kind, you're so disruptive, but ultimately you couldn't exist without our kind. People like me, people who are just businessmen, who keep the wheels money, who keep the organization money, who keep the system flowing. You guys move in and just wreck things. And the best we can do is direct you. It's so amusing to me. I'm sorry, I pontificate.
No, it's quite true. You should have seen us a couple of months ago. We were far more disruptive than we are now.
Oh, wonderful.
But I think we're done reminiscing and catching up. If they have any more questions about what I did, We can deal with that later.
Okay. Not a problem, not a problem. I do have one very important question.
Absolutely.
And he kind of looks around for a moment, and he really does, too. And you can, even, he's trying to hide it, but even without even a roll, you can tell he's kind of nervous. He says, "Where's the lycanthrope?"
Oh, he's off on a different mission. They won't be joining us. The human and the lycanthrope won't be joining us.
And he gives a visible sigh of relief. He says, "Oh, thank God."
Are you not used to lycanthropes, or...
Oh, no, I'm very used to lycanthropes. That's the problem.
They make you feel really nervous, don't they? Make your hair stand on end.
Hang on. How much dealing with lycanthropes have you had?
Yeah, probably not as much as you.
I admit that they have an odd way of speaking, and sometimes it's hard to deal with that. I mean, they don't understand the concept of... And I'm going to pause for a second and think as me in real life tries to think about this.
I'm sure I had some dealings with them with the railroad.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So
I'm failing at coming up with the phrase I'm looking for. Okay, what's a word for when you really, really dislike someone, but you have to be polite to them?
Working with adventurers.
I would actually go with protocol if I was to use a word in that. Courtesy might also function.
Courtesy doesn't work, neither does protocol.
Faux
I'm more trying
politeness.
to get...
It's 2 words, but still.
I didn't catch that.
Faux politeness.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to explain. They're so darned polite that sometimes you just feel like they're mocking you.
Let me.
And I'm just going to kind of pause and watch his facial expression.
He's just.
That was not the response I was expecting.
He just kind of looks at his long claws because he's a Moorsman. And he just kind of says, "Well, all I'm going to say about lycanthropes, because I don't want to badmouth them, heaven forbid, is that the thing that always worries me about lycanthropes is the way they think. Because here's the weird thing: you or I, we have things that matter to us, right? And it's always a." It's always a layer of gray. Like, there's nothing in my life I would consider so important that everything else would absolutely be subservient to it, right? There's nothing, and I'm sure the same can be said of most people. And in the business I'm in, and my employers are in, having a degree of loyalty is nice, and you have to earn up that kind of reputation for knowing that you're going to be solid, right? It's very important in this business, especially in this region. I know you're from.
Understand.
I was gonna say I know you're from Alluvia, and I know you're from Stonehold, and you're probably from Osteth. But here in the show, appearances matter a lot.
By the way, he wouldn't say he knows I'm from Alluvia because my, or if he said he knows he's from Alluvia, he's guessing at that point because the name that I gave them is actually the one that the passport is based in. Hold on, and I'll tell you. It is a Naveri passport.
Oh, he probably is just assuming it because you look like an elf at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is it. Anyways, to continue. But them lycanthropes, they're different than you or I, because if, and I've actually seen this happen before, if a lycanthrope is told by their superiors to do something, they do it. No matter what it is. No matter what their feelings are on the matter, no matter what they care. I have seen a lycanthrope murder someone in cold blood, apologizing the whole time because they didn't want to. I have actually seen a lycanthrope who has been friends with someone for years turn on them without a moment's hesitation because they were ordered to. Because a lycanthrope is absolutely yielded to their house. And so I don't like dealing with lycanthropes, and frankly, not a lot of people in my position do. So I'm just kind of glad he's gone.
If it makes you feel better, if he suddenly decides that he doesn't like you, unless it's for a good reason, we probably won't go along with him. And so he's going to phrase it just like that, including the probably.
Probably, right. It's not quite what worries me. I don't know how much you guys keep up with Duracost politics, but the House of Airfall hasn't done anything in a century. Whatever, I'm getting off topic. We got a mission or 3 to talk about. Now, I'm told that you are authorized to select only 2 of these 3 potential leads we have. I need to know your decision as soon as possible so we can get other agents on the 3rd mission. I don't think it is. I think it is worth noting that we actually have, from my understanding, about 7 other missions that are going to be going on the sidelines, and for some reason your elven friend is really trying to get my attention. So I suppose I will yield the floor to her.
Again, I have been incommunicado for about a day and a half now. So missions.
I
have 3 to choose from. I can't pick if I don't know what they are.
I was getting to that, ma'am. I haven't told your fine companions them yet either.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was assuming that they already.
Here, have some orange juice.
Thank you.
Have some brandy.
Well,
That's what I meant.
he says as he drinks some Canada Dry. Listen, getting a hold of this mine and the full rights to it is very important to the boss, and that's all that really matters to me. 3 things that we figured would be useful for an adventurer to accomplish. How you accomplish these missions is totally up to you as long as they are beneficially done, and if you mess them up, and then he just kind of pauses for a moment, doesn't actually continue a sentence. So, your 3 targets. First and foremost, the chief appraiser who's going to be checking out the mines himself. Naturally, that will be underwater. His name is Types Very Loud.
I think I've heard of him before.
Oh, loud! Oh my god! I'm sorry. Anyways, his name is Merc of Rank Grime. He's a Moorsman. I've got a little bit of information on him. He's the appraiser, like I said. We need to get him, either him convinced to change his reports or change the files he is going to be reporting in, or actually changing his perception of the event somehow so that he is going to report this as not worth governmental takeover. That's very important. Second target we've got here. The biggest obstacle we have, another organization, I guess that's the word I want to use here, which is going to be trying to stake a claim on this mine, is known as Apex Assemblies. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Have I heard of them?
Would we?
Hang on. Let's go ahead and go with just a flat intro.
4.
+4.
2 or 3. Sorry.
Z, you have heard of Apex Industries, or excuse me, Apex Assemblies. It's a very unusual company in that they don't actually produce anything per se. What they do is they will receive parts that are constructed by other companies and actually assemble them into things. I know that sounds obvious, but it's a very lucrative business for some reason. You, thanks to your contacts and how well you ruled, know that the main reason Apex has always been so lucrative is they were very well connected with the undermarket, back when there was an undermarket.
Yeah. Yeah, I've worked with Apex before. Pretty reputable folk, but not quite in the legal way.
Well, there are currently obstacles that need to be dealt with. We have found what might be a weak point in their armor. They're very difficult to attack directly, and I don't want you to just go swarming in there and destroy their base. That would be completely horrible in every way, sense, of form. But we do have an option on that, which is a young man named Keldamar of Autumn Watcher. So that is your second target. Yeah. The third target is... And he just kind of grimaces. He says, well, honestly, if it was up to me, I wouldn't even offer you this option. No offense, but I usually don't see adventurers as being the subtle or quiet, clandestine type. But the third option requires all of the above. We need you to go ahead and get to some files and change them. Those files will be in Semnon, which is a city north of here. That's where the actual official clearinghouse is for the local appraisers region. And it's very important. The timing on this will be very important because you need to get them after the initial reports have been listed, and then you need to alter them before they are then sent to the Shaoxi court in order to be set into official law and then put out for auction. And those are the 3 options I present to you.
Do we have a guesstimation on that third option on when that might be taking place?
Monday.
What's today?
Saturday.
I'm gonna kind of nod. I think I could actually make that work. Just kind of nod and think for a little bit. Snarg, Guido, thought process. Basic estimations here, just from what he just gave us. That first option, I'm sure we could probably find some way without actually having to harm that poor inspector guy, to get him to alter his perspectives. The other guy, it'd probably be easiest just to knock him out.
We would prefer no deaths.
I can't kill him.
We would prefer no deaths.
So you'd prefer that I kidnap him?
How you deal with
or
it is
just
up to
severely
you.
maim?
How you deal with
Well,
it is up to you.
I'm wondering if you're going for scare tact. I mean, you said you'd prefer no deaths, so I'm assuming you're wanting either scare tactics here or to use this guy as leverage against somebody.
He kind of stretches a bit and says, I suppose scare tactics could work, but leverage would be probably more useful given the rest of the information. For obvious reasons, I cannot and will not detail more information on any of these 3 targets until you've selected. So
Obviously. So option 2 there, we're looking at probably a snatch and grab. And I'm just going to kind of pause for a second and say I've had some recent successes with those.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I am fairly well suited to something like that as well.
Not quite in the manner that I go about them.
No.
Option 3, we're looking at getting some documents forged. That's going to involve a little bit more work. I'd have to do some trailings. I'm going to turn to the handler. I'm going to say, I'm assuming you could provide me with maybe some contacts to get some forgeries drawn up. I seriously doubt that's in our expertise to handle.
actually, out of character, do any of you have the forgery skill at all?
I don't.
Didn't think so.
Nope.
Stuff like this is one of the only reasons I left that as a skill in the rule set, because I could think of so many uses for it. We can go ahead and work on getting you information to get contacts, but you're going to have to source the forgeries yourself.
Okay. That wouldn't be a problem. So, looking at those, I'd say we're pretty well equipped to handle the first one. I'm probably fairly well equipped to take care of the first, or we're probably pretty well equipped to handle the second one as a team. I think I'd probably be fairly well equipped, just on my own if you wanted me to go knock out that second one. What time frame are we looking? When is he going to be out inspecting this area?
He is out right now, if I'm not mistaken, and will be for the remainder of the day and tomorrow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so that one's a little bit more time sensitive. Excuse me.
I'm assuming the Apex one is just before they actually go to make the bid.
Admittedly, the timing on that one is a little more flexible, and that's all I'm going to say at the moment.
Well, yeah, because, once you got the guy, you can leverage all you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think you can take care of the second one, Z, then I don't see any reason why we shouldn't take the ones that are to our strengths, number 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that works. I don't think we would necessarily fail at doing the third one. I just think it would take a little bit more work. We'd have to go look for some contacts and get the forger. I'd have to, I'm going to have to alter the documents there. So I'd have to be able to lie the forger into the place wherever the documents are. Get them forged, because I can't kill the courier, because they know who he is, of course.
No. Well, I think our employers have taken that into consideration, which is why we're only picking 2.
Thankfully. So anyway,
of course, we could go to Bonebreaker.
We can't reach him in
That would take too
time.
much time.
We could translate to him.
Did you use that word just now? Or are you mind speaking?
Please tell me you mind spoke that.
Wait. Okay. 3 fingers is mind speak. How about that?
I actually can't do 3 fingers. My fingers aren't quite
3
that
fingers is mind
dexterous.
speak. This is short for mind meld, mind speak.
Okay, hang on. I got it. All right. All right. So this is mind speak. Really obvious.
Okay.
Suddenly, Fear
Ow.
Seal comes on. I am now speaking in mind speak, and then it just goes away.
All right, Professor X.
Yeah, Fear and Seal suddenly takes over Guido's mind, and everything that comes out of his mouth goes through his brain.
Yes.
By the way, Guido, something to bear in mind. Anything you say or do that marks you as a desolate is an automatic fail on anyone in the room.
Yeah. That includes.
So even though he
him.
passed his will save, once he knows you're a desolate, he fails his will save.
How does that work? Because I already know he is.
It's not quite that static. It's not like standard knowledge. Of course, you know he's a desolate, but as soon as it is brought to your attention.
Okay.
There are a
Right,
couple mitigating
so-
circumstances in Snarg's case, 2 of them to be precise. But yeah.
So
Okay.
Guido says in mind speak to both of us, we could just translate there. To which I respond out loud with, no, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. No, indeed.
Okay.
No change.
No change. You got
Okay.
lucky. That was a 25 DC. Circumstantials.
Oh, I was going to say, wait, I can't make that. Well, if I roll 20, I can. But anyway. So,
Oh shoot.
right.
Sorry.
Right. So it sounds like we've pretty much picked what we're going to do. Maybe we should hear some more about those 2 options.
Mr. Handler.
Okay. I'm going to use this as a convenient point to cut because there's a rule change I need to inform you guys about that I actually forgot to. I'm changing the way action points work.
Okay.
Or rather, the way you get them is actually a little more accurate way to put it. The best way I could describe this is if you could think of it as I'm going to visually demonstrate here, okay?
It hit us.
This is for combat, okay? Anything in combat, attack rolls, damage rolls if you feel like it, getting an extra attack, getting an extra use of a uses per day kind of thing, that's combat, right? This is the other hand. Anything regarding, social rolls or specific circumstances, it generally saves, like reflex checks, can be either, based on the circumstances. But you get 2 action points pretty much per day. 1 of each. This can only be used for combat, this can only be used for social. This is getting rid of, that's all you got left. You follow?
Yes.
This is how it's going to work from now on. I've actually done some live testing of this with Charlie, and we both agree this is a lot simpler and an easier way to get it. It makes action points actually tactical again, because you have to actually think about using them. And
So are we going to use this as a 1 per session or 1 per in-game day?
1 per in-game
I
day.
think- Okay.
So basically, once you complete a rest, they refresh.
Yeah, it's basically, in 5th edition terms, or 4th edition terms, it's a long rest to get it back. If you want a really technically ruling on that, that's basically 5 hours of sleep. 5 hours of good sleep.
Okay.
So,
Basically, same thing they did with 4th edition D&D.
yeah, actually, really similar to that. That was, it was admittedly Charlie's suggestion, and then we modified it a little bit based off of the 4th edition rules, because I like the idea of having the 2 slots of AP. So,
Okay.
that's the new AP ruling. Please keep that in mind. Use it or lose it, because, obviously you don't store up, you just get the slot refreshed.
Right.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and cut back in here. Alright, so forgive me, I wasn't quite following your conversation as well as I thought I did, and he kind of glances at Z for a moment. So which 2 have you selected?
Option 1 and 2. The getting the surveyor to change his documents and kidnapping rather than killing what's his face.
You don't have to kidnap him, you've got options. Alright. If you'll give me just one moment, I need to go deal with a few things. I'm very happy with that decision. I would rather you guys not try to be subterfugal, no offense. I'll be right back. And then he goes ahead and gets up and leaves. He'll be back in a few minutes.
All right. I begin marking Hilmdar of Odd Watcher.
So Snarg,
Hmm.
how do you feel about intimidating people? I mean, I can lie to him, and I'm pretty good at lying to people.
Well, do it when I have to, but if I've got to do it, I can be pretty intimidating.
Okay.
He's a little.
What's your intimidation?
It is 7. I think. Yes.
So decently intimidating.
Enough that I
So
don't just blow it every time.
so
Oh, I need to log in, don't I?
let's say Guido. Do we want to knock these out pretty much simultaneously? Because I get if we go and we do one first before the other, depending on what order we do them in and how we do them, and if anybody has any inkling and connects these two, we're gonna hit the possibility of the other person that we're dealing with finding out what's going on. So there's the option of we hit them simultaneously. I feel pretty confident about snatch and grab, taking care of that myself. Or you can take care of, you and Guido can take care of that. Here's my idea. This is all mind speak, by the way. Here's my idea. Snarg, you go in, get the guy out into an alley somewhere. Have Guido translate to a secure location, knock him out. Bag and tag. Make sure you cover the guy's head first, because I really don't want him freaking out, crying about the fact that Guido's a desolate.
I have sacks in my inventory on my character sheet.
Just think you could finally use that prestige class that I hate.
Which one?
The one he has.
Bloodhound.
Bloodhound, thank you.
It basically allows me to hit someone with full force and deal non-lethal. Or in higher levels. Higher levels, it gets better. I can actually kill somebody and then decide I don't kill them. Anyway, so yes, we can take care of that. Guido, did you have an idea before about number 1?
I did, yes. So, the government appraiser. The goal is to change his mind from
If he
thinking
was here, it would be so easy.
Cheat. However, so the goal is to change his mind from thinking that the government taking on this contract is a good idea to the government taking over this contract is a bad idea.
Yeah.
My thought was, if a desolate was to go up to him and tell him the government wants this contract really, really bad, if he was to hate that desolate enough, would he be tempted to change his mind to say, screw the government because they're employing desolates?
No. I seriously doubt that would work. Based off of my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, brother.
Kind of variable, but yeah, I agree with Sis's interpretation of that.
Okay. So there's no way to use the desolate
As an intimidate or...
as an intimidate, yeah. Basically to our advantage.
I don't really think so. I mean, if you want to get a guy to pilot an airship into the ground, we can probably do desolation and intimidation that way. But in this specific instance, I don't think it would work.
Okay. Is this appraisal he's doing big enough that he can be, I hate to use the word, but blackmailed in order to change his opinion on that? Is he that corrupt? Is he not? Is that normally how it works? Because the show are all about public image. And do we know, is he a Baron? I'm assuming.
But you see, that's
You actually don't
that's
know.
a double-edged
Well,
sword
okay,
there.
you know his name. It is a Moorsman name.
Okay.
That's a double-edged sword there, Snarg, because as Brother has mentioned on several occasions, if you try to bribe a government, somebody who's a government contractor, they will take the bribe and then go report you.
But what
so
if
they have the money, because their reputation is everything. So if they get a reputation for accepting bribes, they can no longer function in most society. They have to have a reputation for being honest.
But what if we were doing him a favor? We went up to him and said, hey, look, someone else is trying to discredit you. We found out about it. We'll take care of it as long as you help us out with this.
Right.
That would require a deception roll in addition to the bribe roll.
Right. But you just said that the bribe just right off the bat won't work.
Probably
That might
won't, Narc.
work. That might work if we spin it, and it would probably require my level of deception. If we spin it as someone inside has accused you, and such, what's a political official that would be in charge of this? Knowledge, politics, 8.
8. One moment.
I'll contribute with 9 if that helps.
I should start using the other d20, which isn't here. Where is my other d20?
If we're willing to get
I
crazy.
have one. I can roll it for you.
Well, this is my old d20, the one that is kind of hard to read at this point. I keep meaning to just start using the new one. Anyways, what was your knowledge politics again?
Mine is 8, and Snarg is helping with a knowledge 9.
That's barely
I
enough.
just lost my 20.
You don't know a name, obviously, but you do know that I will scroll down here a little bit, that, especially based on the information that was just mentioned to you by the gentleman, that based on the way this works within the show, the person in charge of this is actually going to be one, depending on how you define that, is going to be one of two beings. One, it's going to be the head of the Appraisers Union. As you already know, that's in the town, or the city of Semnon, which is north of here. Or it will be the actual person who deals with it on the courts level, which will be a local official of some repute, probably an adjutant to the Count of Shoshi.
Okay. And you're understanding that I'm wanting the political official that if this becomes a government contract, this is the person that will be in charge of the job.
I'm sorry, I hate to ask you this, but define in charge of the job. Because I can think
The
of 4
person
answers
who
to
is-
that.
The person who is the higher up person who is responsible for the production that is happening at this, meaning they're the person that determines what subcontractor comes in and gets to mine it.
Okay. Now, do you want to know the person who is in charge on paper, or the person who will actually be making decisions? Because those are two completely separate things.
The person who would actually be making decisions. In order for this deception to work, it would have to be the person actually making decisions.
Okay, in that case, it would actually be... I gotta look that up. I gotta look up the name of the title is actually all I gotta do. Because it would be basically someone whose entire purpose... See, the counts, who are the equivalent of provincial leaders, lords from Alluvia, they're in charge of each given district within the Empire, and they have a lot of political clout and power that they pretty much use entirely for their own purposes and dealing with each other. So it's their offices that actually run the Empire, if you understand where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So you want someone who's going to be in charge at that level, which is actually kind of low, all things considered. Which would
Basically, my intent here is, okay, Mayor, is it, no, what's the mayor of New Orleans?
No. Bob.
Bob was recently accused of bringing in, of giving government contracts to designated people, to specific people in return for a kickback.
Okay.
Something like that. You know, I'm going to come to this guy and say, hey, there's this conspiracy going on. There's this rumor that's been started. Somebody has gone behind the scenes and is working this so that you are working in conjunction with so-and-so on this big corruption plot.
All right. Based on what you're asking, I'm actually going to give you a vague answer because you only rolled a 22. It would be either a duke or a duchess who is in the office of the Count of Shaoxi. And I could give you his name, but I have to look that up, so we'll just leave that for the moment. Or it would be a comte under that gentleman who is probably the one actually making the decision, even though they basically only get some benefit from it. The duke or the duchess would be the one who would actually be getting most of the quote-unquote kickbacks if such a corruption were to happen.
Okay, so I would actually, throw the duck or the duchess in there, rather than saying that. And then basically what I would be telling them is they have worked it so that, if you say that this is a government contract, that's the last step in the plan. that the government does want this contract. That's the last straw. If you do this, they have forged all of the evidence, and insert making ups of stuff here.
Yeah.
That would be the nail in your coffin, is saying that the government wants this. So you can get yourself out of this by simply saying that this is something that the government doesn't want to be in.
If we really want to get tricky, we could try to weave in Apex assemblies in that as well.
No, I wouldn't. You don't. Anytime you're telling a lie, it is best to keep it as close to the truth as possible.
As simple as possible, too.
Right about this point, the Moorsman comes back. Says, "My apologies. I had to go give off a few messages, make sure we get another team assigned to the file operation. I hope you've had some time to eat and consider."
We've done some brainstorming, looking for a little bit more information to kind of formulate more on our plans, but we have a rough guesstimate of how we want to handle each of them.
Wonderful. Unfortunately, I just minimized everything. There we go.
I'm sorry to hear that you have minimized our efforts.
It is very minimal in my mind. Now, let's talk about the appraiser. Here's the information I have on him. Obviously, he's a Moorsman. He's of rank crime. I've never liked rank crimes. We know he actually lives within the city of Semnon. We know that he is staying here in Machi at the moment, obviously. We do know that he heads out from the port in order to go and investigate the size and appraise. He's been doing this for the last 2 days. He'll be doing this for today and tomorrow. We do know that he doesn't really have anything really interesting about him that we could use as blackmail material. At least nothing we had on file when I looked up this guy. And we do know that his specialty within the Appraisers Union is real estate. This is someone who's actually very highly regarded by the Appraisers Union, and the mere fact that they're sending him means they take this seriously. So any recommendation he gives will be taken with a great deal of gravitas. I'm afraid that's all the information I have on that guy right now. The other gentleman...
Okay, I do have, before we move on, I have a couple of quick questions. Things that you would probably know about, not about the appraiser, but about the location. Any evidence of seismic activity other than, the major events that the entire continent has felt?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. Anything else down in the site that could possibly be used or construed to be worse, more severe than it is, that we might be able to use to frame his mind of thinking, as far as frame of mind, that's the word I was looking for, his frame of mind as far as the safety of the site? 'Cause I'm assuming if it's considered an unsafe site, the government won't want to have anything to do with it.
See, that's kind of a tricky situation. Admittedly, that's something of a judgment call, because if it is an unsafe site, there are only one of two ways to look at it. Either this is not worth our time, or only the government can handle this. So I think you are probably going to want to hit a certain level of unsafe. For example, my thoughts first immediately went to pretend there's a golem there. Say that someone found a feral golem somewhere in the region. But the
Something
moment
that they just don't want to have to deal with.
Well, see, the problem is the moment I thought of that, I realized that that would actually make this automatically a government matter, because they would only trust the actual military to deal with it and not a private contractor. So something a little bit less might lower its overall value to the government, but you need to hit a sweet spot. Maybe some dragon eels or blood odors or blood boaters, excuse me. Maybe some bear sharks, something like that. I don't know. There's plenty of wildlife in the area you can assume is there and causing difficulties, but try not to get too severe with that, because otherwise we're just going to shove it right into the government's hands. And that is not
Quick
what we
question.
want. Yes,
Quick
sir?
question. Is there any way we could capture and import one of these to the area?
I'm sure there's tons of ways to do that, yeah.
Just a thought. I mean, if he was to encounter one of these creatures...
I think that if he actually were to encounter one, rather than to simply deceive him into thinking that would be very effective. Just my thoughts on the matter, of course.
Okay. I just forgot my thought.
Sorry.
All
It's
right,
okay. It was like right
now,
there, and then I was holding it. And it was like important that, and I'm like, oh yeah. And
Bear
it started
sharks.
going through the steps.
bear sharks!
Are bear sharks actually native to this area? Tell me the truth.
Yes.
Oh, I remember.
With lasers?
I have stats on them too.
All right.
Go assist before you
Are
forget.
there any, for lack of a better term, activist groups that are protesting against this that might make it not dangerous, but just a headache for the government to deal with?
We will decide with a dice roll, because that hadn't occurred to me.
Occupy Machi.
Occupy Machi. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to roll, because I actually already know of an activist group that exists within the Show Empire. Alright, so, continuing from where we left off, you can move now. The organization doesn't have a proper name, the one that you're thinking of, Z.
Okay.
But there is a group led by Muton of Palatone. He is also a Moorsman. And he has been lobbying for greater rights for both Moorsmen and Sclavi for the better part of the last couple of years. And it is possible you could spin things in a way that they are going to view, like if it would take some work. But basically, if this place was viewed as dangerous, which, by the way, you don't know if it is or not. I'd just like to point that out. It may actually be dangerous. But if this place is dangerous or is perceived as dangerous, naturally they're going to be sending Moorsmen to work on it. And it could be conceivable that his group could get involved. Now, they're not a violent group. So that has to be taken into account. Muton is
But
very...
they would create a headache.
Yes.
And a bunch of public nuisance.
And if violence isn't the headache, that would be a or whatever. It would be considered, we have to do this because we're the military, because it's dangerous. Then
Right. But if you can have
what
protest.
other kind of headaches can I cause? The other kind of headaches I can cause are political protests against it, and
Yeah, so why not just let some company deal with that?
yeah.
Bless you.
Gotta have more
Luckily, I
brandy.
was able to mute my mouse in time.
I saw.
Yeah,
it was-
so your sneeze sounded like a bottle opening, because that happened at the same time.
Yeah, I was actually kind of trying to time it, to be honest with you. So, that's all the information we have about Merc of Rankgram. Do you have any other questions that I can possibly
Nope.
help with?
I'm good with that now. I appreciate all your help.
He turns to the Lugian. Then he turns to the Knoll. Then he turns back to the Lugian.
What?
And the Lugian's making some weird gesture. He doesn't know what to make of that.
How amphibious are these races?
All three could pretty much function underwater indefinitely.
That figures.
He turns back to the Knoll.
What does he look like?
Oh, I see. All Moorsmen look alike to you Knolls, huh? I see how it is.
No, but we do want to make sure we get the right guy.
Well, he looks like... Sure, why not? Let's actually pull up a specific image, because I have one in mind. Alright, he's kind of distinct because he's, even though he's pretty young, he's got a early coppering to his scales. It's really unfortunate. It's something that only hits, like 1 out of 20 of us.
Morseman balding?
Well, it's closer to molting, actually, because what'll happen is their scales will turn bronze, and then they'll come off early, leaving the underskin exposed.
Do
That
they grow
sucks.
back?
They can be magically treated. It's rather expensive to treat that. Like, very expensive to treat that.
Oh, so it is actually like balding. You lose your scales and then they just don't ever grow back. I didn't know if it was like snake molting.
No,
This is
no.
all OOC.
Yeah, I figured. He also has slightly beadier eyes than usual. His eyes are, of course, a very deep luminescence. And he's got a bit of an underbite thing going on with his chin. And his dorsal fin is really huge, all things considered. It goes up like 6 inches out of his back. It's gigantic. And I don't know anything else about his information specifically. That's all I have in the file, I'm afraid.
That's all I need.
And let's go ahead and talk about Keldemir, excuse me. Alright, one of the reasons I wanted to stay quiet about this is because this is very recently acquired information, and we've been hoping for an opportunity to use it against Apex Assemblies. You see, Apex Assemblies is actually run by a Moorsman.
Not a Baron?
Yeah, I know, right? It's bizarre. But anyways, this Moorsman, this woman, is very keen, very intellectual. Apparently, she actually gained control over Apex Assemblies from her predecessor, who was a Burun. We actually don't know if that was a legitimate transfer of control, because that has happened before, or if something was arranged. Not really relevant for these purposes, but just thought I'd mention it because Burley, which is her name, the Burley of Ashenbless, she is brutal, cunning, intelligent, and she stops at basically nothing. She is probably, let's just say she is our biggest competitor for a good reason. Now, like our good friend Brack of Brackwater, she likes to keep to her word, but, well, she had an affair. And this is the information that we're going to be able to use for this. She had an affair with a Lord Elf. Now, the Lord Elf in question is a gentleman named Cardan of Autumn Watcher, and you probably see where this is going.
I do.
What?
I'm missing the relevance.
The young man is named Keldamir of Autumn Watcher. He had an affair. Keldamir is their
son.
Half Lord Elf's son.
Got it.
Now, it just as a kind of an out-of-character reminder, Lord Elves, when they breed, regardless of whom they breed with, make a Lord Elf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's
Elves are the ones that can be half whatever. Lord Elves only
Lord
ever
Elves.
make a Lord Elf, no matter what they're breeding with.
So he is a Lord Elf, then.
So, our good friend Keldamir is a Lord Elf. Yes, ma'am? Is there something wrong?
Sorry.
Mental image?
No, that was you saying regardless of what they breed with, and then my mind following through on the varying things.
Well, it has to be something they're physically capable of breeding with, but Moorsmen do qualify.
No, it went to, breeding with like a Baroon. And then that image was then in my head.
Actually, originally Burley was supposed to be a Baroon.
You just couldn't bring yourself to do it.
Well, actually, no. Burun are one. When I listed the races that Lord Elves cannot mate with, I realized Burun was actually one of them.
Oh,
So
okay, good.
So I had to edit it. Ulthoy are on that list too, if you care. There's actually not many things on that list. Anyways, okay, so back in character. We do know a few details, obviously, about the woman, the gentleman, and the son in question. What would you like to know about?
all the above.
The mother lives in Kashino. It's a city to the southwest of here. She has a very large manor. She actually had several geomancers and some arcweavers construct an artificial mesa, which she used to build her building on. And he just kind of pauses for a moment, and obviously something about this bothers him. And does anybody have a decent wisdom score that they'd like to try and figure this out for themselves?
I have a 4.
And I've got
I've
two.
got a 2.
How does the paladin have a 2 in wisdom? I'm just messing with you. Okay, well, Snarg, it occurs to you, because you rolled a 20, that one of the
Last one they'll ever be today.
one of the most long-standing traditions amongst the show in general, regardless of race, is vertical growth, or I'm sorry, horizontal growth, not vertical growth. The very act of literally raising the earth up through magical and agricultural means in order to set your house on top of it is a huge statement and something that kind of literally spits in the face of tradition. So by itself,
So it's like,
that's kind of
so
a big
it's a
deal.
big insult and person that nobody really wants to live next to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And damn it, is that your camera or is that my recording? No, it's your camera that's stuttering.
Stuttering.
Yeah, Snarg's been stirring a little bit periodically.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure it's not my recording. Even though it still sucks.
Although,
Anyways,
actually, he didn't stutter here recently on my camera.
well, whatever.
I bet I know what it is.
I don't even have anything else going, so I can't turn anything off here. Regardless, she lives there. It's fairly well guarded, as you might imagine. That's pretty much where she operates from. She also uses it as the home of operations for Apex Assemblies.
I would imagine that. I mean, I'd assume that would be a fairly defensible position.
Oh my, yes, of course. Now, we have very little information on Keldamir and Cardan. We know they live in where's the name of the town? Surely I wrote it down, he says, looking at his notes.
Don't call me Shirley.
There it is. I just kept skipping over it. Li Shao.
Okay,
They both
so that's
live in Li
southwest.
Shao. I was gonna say, yes, that is just southwest of Machi. Both of them live in Li Shao. We do know that Cardan, that's the father, he doesn't keep. He obviously his relationship with the woman, which would be something of a scandal if it was revealed, since Moorsman. Well, let's just say. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And then he just continues. And I'll go ahead and tell you out of character.
Do I?
I'll just say all three of you would know this. This is a really common thing. Lord Elves, the whole Lord Elf mating with another thing and creating another Lord Elf thing has kind of created a social stigma in Lord Elf and other and other racial relations. So in virtually all cultures, it's generally considered kind of a taboo. In a place like the show, with someone who is in his position of as much power and authority as she is, to be seen having a relationship at all with a Lord Elf would be something that's damaging to her image. To have actually had a son with him would be horrible to her image. You see?
She's got so many things stacked against her that could ruin her.
So,
That's it?
yeah, basically. So, anyways, now, continuing. So, he doesn't exactly... obviously, this connection is something we've only unearthed recently, but he himself doesn't actually keep quiet, so it'll be very easy to find him. His son, we're not really sure about, but we do believe he works as a masoner, so that'll be very easy to find as well, I'm sure. Unfortunately, that's basically all the information we have on them specifically.
Okay.
Now, if there's anything else you need from me, I am at your disposal. Otherwise, I will be available at this particular office, which I am now going to give you a piece of paper. And that actually
I'll take the
has... Snarg already took it. You were eating.
No, never mind.
It actually has a location here in, in Machi listed that you can go and reach him at. And it's just a local tavern, basically. Not this one, obviously. I will be there for the next week. If next Saturday comes by and you have not reported in, we will assume you are dead and move on. Or hunt you down, of course.
Fair enough.
Any other questions?
No, I think
Anyone?
that covers everything for now. If we have any additional questions, we know where to reach you.
All right. And he goes out and leaves. And you're now alone in the room.
Well,
Mind speaking alone in the room.
I love the mental image of these three people sitting there just in total silence. Just
no,
kind of-
I'll break out one of the games that I bought a while back, and we'll play that at the same time.
Oh, hang on. I made a list of those.
Question: when you're mind speaking with someone, do they basically have a constant idea of what's on your mind, or can you hold stuff back?
You can hold stuff back. However, because you are not in actual sign, you have to roll to do that.
Okay.
So
I'm
would you
trying to
like...
cheat.
Well, no, I'm wondering, are you automatically going to know what my next move is just by the fact that we're mind speaking?
How does she know every card in my hand?
I have
see.
something to do with the fact that I see what you see.
Okay, the game you pull out this time is... Oh, that's a D20. I wanted a D6. I don't even have a thing for that. You pull out Carcassonne.
Okay. This is a fun game.
I actually have played that once. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. We'll start setting up the board and stuff, but we'll do everything with Mind Link.
Okay.
That reminds me of that Mega 64 video. X!
Okay, we'll come up with something else. Because it can't be this, and it can't be this, because you'd misinterpret that. And we can't do this, because this is silly. And we can't do this, because then Sis would constantly be talking in mind speak.
Hey, here we go.
Can we just say mind speaking?
Yes, you can. I'm just messing around. Just do it. I just like this because it's so useful. Especially because often people will do it in mid-sentence, as I have already done, for that matter. So.
Well, Z, you think you're You said you wanted to take the number 2. Are you still up for that?
I am still up for soloing the surveyor. Do you think that you all would be able to determine this? This I keep wanting to call him a night elf, Lord Elf. This Lord Elf's location, and I hate you.
Well, don't take it that way. It's just a game.
Didn't realize I'd offended you so much.
You bastard! You totally cheated just now, didn't you?
Hey, look, we're all cheating. We all know. So let's just play the game.
Actually,
Let's see who
Guido.
can out-cheat them. I want a deception roll against Guido and Snarg to see to make them think I'm getting ready to do something,
Okay, they totally think you're going to do something.
and then I'm going to do something else.
Okay, so she suddenly puts a meeple down on a village tile, and you were thinking she was going to go for the plains to get the river bonus. And
So I put
that
I
just
put some
ruins your
down the
strategy.
roads. And like,
Okay, I don't remember what I was talking about.
we were talking about.
You were talking about splitting the party for some reason.
No.
Why are you splitting the
because-
party? Why?
Would be easier, and then I don't have to worry about them accidentally catching sight of Guido.
You have to deal with Guido regardless, no matter what you do.
No, I was going to send Guido with Snarg.
Snark has to deal with Guido regardless, no matter
Yeah,
what you do.
I was gonna say if for some reason if for some reason I hate him, then
Don't know why that would ever happen.
that may be the end of it if we don't have a mediator.
That
that's a
is
good-
kind of my point out of character.
Okay, so what you're telling me is I need to send Snarg to snag and grab. Just by himself.
Oh my
Well,
god.
no, I'm saying we need.
That
You know,
would
you
be
don't
better.
have to split up. I'm just
I'm
saying.
saying we all go.
Okay.
I like that motion that you did. It was like,
Dun, dun, dun,
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I am totally cool with all going. I am totally cool with all going.
Okay.
That changes the perspective, the dynamics of a few things. Let's just start with the surveyor because that's the one I've been thinking on the most because I figured I'd probably end up going on that solo.
That seems more important anyway.
yeah. It's the only one that's time locked.
Here I'm thinking what we'll probably end up doing is I will head down there. I'll, whatever. I'm assuming there's a whole team that's down there. I will have to go check out the situation. I figure we can do that. We've got a few hours left in the day today.
Oh, you got
I
tons
don't
of hours.
actually-
It's still the morning.
And I don't actually think that we want to actually integrate ourselves in and start the conundrum until tomorrow.
Okay. So we can just scope out the place. Since we were talking about dangerous creatures and stuff, perhaps I can look around and see if that actually is the case, because I may know a bit about that.
Do some of that. I'll probably keep Guido with me. I'm gonna go head out and check out the job site. Or
Sorry, I didn't
Yes.
want to interrupt, but go ahead. Okay, I'll go. How difficult would it be to get actual credentials that say we're with the government so that we can, I'll air quote here, infiltrate the site and this guy's assessment?
That's kind of a tricky one. It literally depends on who you encounter. Here's the way it goes. If you encounter anyone else who is from the government, including the appraiser himself, you'll be immediately ousted. Because the office... Actually, I did actually note this and make the notes of the people there. The office that he works for consists of 5 people, plus his boss. There's no way in hell you're going to infiltrate
Oh,
that.
no.
But if you encounter anyone else there, they wouldn't know any better. You see where I'm going with this?
yeah, I
So-
actually had that idea to do an infiltration, but I was actually thinking that we'd need more time.
I was actually thinking basically the office of his boss or his boss's boss.
Yeah.
So not actually being part of his team.
Well, that would actually make getting the papers more difficult. Still feasible. The real catch then is you would have to come up with a reason why you're there. Because there's, I can't actually think of one. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not saying there isn't one.
Same train of thought. Is there a branch within Show Empire that we're aware of that is fairly common knowledge that operates like the FBI or the CIA? People that do investigations into corruption and such whatnot.
Yeah, that's more what I was thinking.
And could we get documentation that we're part of that? Because that would mean that that guy would probably have no clue that we exist if we're an undercover agent.
Okay, here's the thing. There's two such organizations within the Show Empire. One is the
FBI and the CIA.
One is the Anti-Desolation League.
I am totally up for pretending to be a member of that. I don't think Guido would pass.
Well, hang on. What? There's companies scoping this place out, right? Because this is going to be potentially a bid, right?
Actually, they're not allowed on site.
They're not allowed on site.
That is something I probably should have mentioned earlier.
Well, I mean,
the whole area, actually, nobody is allowed on site, basically, unless they have proper rights. That's assuming they're caught, of course. You can still try to sneak on site, but sneaking will obviously be difficult because it's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And none of you can breathe underwater regularly like they can.
Damn. Snarg, you should have stayed as
what was the other
Wizcord.
agency, though?
Right, the other
He would have. Well, this would be a lot different if he was playing.
If you were still playing WizCore, trying to subvert the Show Empire's official governmental holdings,
It's like, let's go playing. I got 2 traders.
All right, congratulations, WizCore. Here's a certificate of gratitude. You've done good. Well, no, because this is a show thing, so actually you would receive a lot of prestige and fame for having done this. So it's not like you would get nothing. It's just you wouldn't get nothing tangible.
Right. I know. I can just imagine that. You did it. Certificate being printed out and given to you.
And then immediately taken away because this is the United States and it has to remain secret.
It's like on tabletop where they just write it over the other.
Oh God, yeah. My ear itches. Wow.
Guido, that specific instance right there is why your bribery thing wouldn't work.
And yeah, that is a good point. The other organization, God, you were just lagging all over the place there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that is.
He's not doing it on my screen.
He's not on mine either.
Well, he's occasionally he'll stutter and then he'll be behind. His visual and audio will be desynced for a few seconds.
Yeah, it's actually doing it to mine as well. I'm trying to figure out what's doing that.
Anyways, the other organization that polices is the I don't think I ever actually gave a name for this beast, so let's just go ahead and call them the MPs because that sounds rather appropriate. And yes, that means exactly what it sounds like.
Can you imagine the political uproar if we got like legit, authentic looking papers for Guido for that Anti-Desolation League, and then it was discovered that he was a desolate in the Anti-Desolation League?
Yeah. That... I know you weren't alive during the Cold War, sis, but try to picture that times 10 and no visible enemy. So imagine if the Reds were here, but we didn't know who they were.
Just ask
Until
McCarthy.
we figured one out. Figured out that.
Well, no, McCarthy is... Oh, him, Guido. In this analogy, Guido plays McCarthy. Sorry, Guido, you're McCarthy now. Do you know who McCarthy is? Okay,
Me?
so no, him, because I'm actually really insulting him because McCarthy was a horrible human being.
Oh, he was.
I wanted to make sure Guido understood the
That's
full
fair.
implications.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So we don't know infiltrating the Anti-Desolation League.
the other organization, like I said, we're just going to call them the MPs because I like that, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the military police.
Okay.
In fact, Whiskor was actually offered a position within the MPs, and he declined it to pursue another opportunity, which obviously you don't know what that is.
Knowledge
Although
politics.
he has a pretty good guess of what it is.
Yeah.
Knowledge politics. Would it be possible for any of our 3 races to be a member of the MP?
No.
Yeah, maybe. Even if we were, we'd stick out like a sore thumb.
The MP is 95% Sclavi.
Okay.
Most of the other people are people who do not openly register themselves as MP or Buran.
Okay. So if a Burun was an MP, he could hire, say, for lack of a better way of describing it, a private investigator.
To what end?
They'd probably use in-house investigators.
And yeah, they probably would, but I'll go ahead and allow the train of thought. To what end?
Either one, so they're not doing the dirty work, dirty being inconsequential, whether it's actual dirty work or I'm just, I don't want to bother with this, go look into this for me.
Okay.
Or to remove themselves from the actual tangible involvement.
It would be it is possible, but I don't think it would be done unless it was something of extreme importance, because it would be so much risk involved. Because it would be very, very, very likely that they would get caught. Because no matter what they do, there's going to be some kind of a trail leading back to them, and they would try to avoid that. Now, it is possible that they wouldn't get caught, but the mere risk of it means, in order to be willing to do that, which is something that is feasibly possible, it would have to be something really important. I'm not saying that doesn't apply in this situation, especially if what you're trying to imply is that this is very important for whatever reason. But that has to be taken into account.
I mean, if you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but their reputation to them is everything. So if you were to successfully prove through falsification of evidence that a high up official was guilty of
being a Desla.
No, the equivalent of bribery, because that's what this is. It's accepting a bribe in the form of kickback rather than monetary. But basically, you're saying this politician is corrupt. Wouldn't that be a very major thing?
Now, I feel like I'm a step behind you, because you're implying that you would try to fake getting the MP involved in some manner with a scandal that I have no idea what you're talking about. What's the scandal?
A fake scandal.
So
what we're attempting to do... No.
So you're faking a scandal, and then you're faking investigation into the scandal.
Would you let me talk? Are you quite done?
Yeah. This is awesome.
Taking my original idea that I've already told you of convincing this guy. I need a reason to be able to legit be in contact with this guy. Now, this does not necessarily mean I have to legit be on site. I'm actually thinking that what we would end up doing is finding the guy tonight, finding out where he's staying, covertly going and, causing a meetup, convincing him that one or more of us is an undercover agent in the MP, without actually saying it, because I'm sure they wouldn't actually say it, but, phrasing things in such a specific way that he would draw that conclusion. And then using that to convince him that, there is this plot going on that is going to, if he continues with this, someone who he considers prestigious, possibly his direct boss, possibly his boss's boss, would be politically hurt by him, would have their political reputation ruined by having him say this is something that the government wants, because that is the final piece in the puzzle that this other group that's moving against him needed to forge to that someone else is trying to fabricate this corruption plot, and that we were there to investigate it.
Okay.
That's the route that I'm taking this. I mean, I'm not certain if that's where Guido was going with it, but that's kind of the route that I was taking with it.
And then there was silence.
I was waiting for feedback.
Yeah, I was just waiting for a response. So
I don't know what you want from me. That sounds feasible. This. I mean,
Well,
I have
your
nothing to throw
response
in
to
here.
My initial voicing of it was to laugh at me.
That's because it's awesome.
That's generally not something that you laugh at in amusement to.
Well, I'm sorry for not adhering to your thoughts of amusement.
If you can pull it off, because Lord knows none of us can lie like that, then
I
sure.
nearly beat Ricard in a lie.
Then if you think
Barely.
that's... Well, if we can do that and pull it off, we still need to figure out how in the world we're going to visit this site. Because I can't breathe underwater.
Well, we wouldn't necessarily have to visit the site. If I'm doing this, I wouldn't be going to the site to approach him there. It's going to be much harder for me to get onto the site than it will be for me to corner this guy at his hotel.
Sure. Okay. Well, if we can corner him then and do this, sure. Do you think you can thoroughly convince him? And because I mean, this is something that he could potentially check into. How are we going to? Is this just going to last long enough for us to get our job done?
How soon, brother? How soon after he completes this report would he be filing it?
He will complete his report Sunday evening, in his own time, in his own way. However, at some point between when he gets back from the site Sunday until Monday morning, right? Sometime in that period he'll complete it. Once that's complete, he will immediately head back to Semnon, which is where his office is, and file it. Monday afternoon, and you know this, this is information I should have given, I apologize, but you could have gotten this from your handler. Monday morning, excuse me, Monday afternoon, his superior will show up because his superior is the one who actually goes on site in order to get all the important bids like this and all the appraisals, and will take it back to his office, at which point it will be basically processed and then probably by Monday evening sent to the Hebian capital for this sort of thing. And at which point it's in the system, so to speak. I mean, I could keep going amongst the steps past that, but I don't think you care past that point.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we, as long as it can keep up for several days, then it'll be in the system. And yeah.
I have a really bad idea.
Okay. Sometimes really bad ideas are good.
What if a desolate was to sneak on site in order to, we'll just say, sabotage the area? And the
That would
anti-desolate...
probably make him say that this is extremely dangerous and therefore only the government can do it.
Unless the Anti-Desolation League was to catch him.
You're going to let yourself get caught. They would probably kill you fairly immediately because they know you can translate.
I think I know what he's thinking.
I must be missing it.
You're the Anti-Desolation League.
Yeah.
I totally didn't follow that. But why would that convince him? I mean, that would get me on site, but why would that convince him that we needed to not do this?
So it gives you a reason to come on site. You're investigating a potential desolate threat.
Okay.
You find said desolate threat, and by your actions, alleviate said desolate threat.
All that does is get me on site and make this place look more dangerous than it is. In my head. If I'm missing something with your thought process here, let me know. But
I'm just trying to think of ways to get us on site, to get us in contact with this guy, to be able to, one, talk to him in a legitimate manner, basically for your deception. And then I don't know what to do from there, basically.
okay, my concern is that next step. How do I get from, because I'm not coming up with any ideas here. How do I get from, okay, I'm on site, I'm with the Anti-Desolation League, I've captured and neutralized this desolate threat, to, hey, by the way, you really need to not to say the government doesn't want this job. Thoughts on that? I'm blank. Snarg? I can see your whiskers twitching from thinking so hard.
It's actually his Cthulhu tentacles. They're just really, really small.
Yeah. This is why I actually have that, so I can hide that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's why I do this all the time, just so I can kind of keep them pressed down. I can definitely see where you're going with it. I just can't think of what we do, like you said, after we get on site. I mean, I think the best one I've heard so far is confronting him with, hey, there's conspiracy and such going on, which will at least maybe placate him long enough to get the papers in the system, and then they're in the system.
There's also the idea that we haven't really explored into, that Guido brought up earlier, or that I partially brought up and Guido brought up, of the protesters making it a headache.
Mm-hmm.
That would involve some extra thought. Not entirely certain how that would work, but
out of all of them, that sounds like the one that's most likely to get government to be hands off on it. I just don't know what we could do to lead up to that point.
If we had more time, I think that would be our best, most effective option, because we could organize protests, actually have the protest personally affect this guy, and further on. But on the short time frame, my thought process is that the plan to confront him and convince him that there's some conspiracy theory going on would probably be our best bet.
Okay. Well, I guess the question is then, unless someone else has another idea, what roles do we each play in that? I mean, we know your role, obviously, Z, but...
I need somebody to figure out where this guy's staying. It shouldn't be that hard, and I need it to be somebody not me.
I can do that.
Okay.
I guess I'm marking... Yeah, I just said I marked him, so, yeah.
Oh, I need to ask you really quick. How does that marking work again? I basically want to make sure that you can, in fact, mark this guy.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. There's a reason to ask for a physical description, because that was the prerequisite of it. A bloodhound can target or mark an individual humanoid or monstrous humanoid, yada 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 yada. And I basically, at this level, I get to add my bloodhound level to gather information, listen, search spots, survival checks made to determine the whereabouts of the bark.
Okay.
So at this level, essentially gives me a +2 to find out where he is.
Okay.
Okay.
Sis, don't forget the thing I told you.
This needs to any gather information checks that you're. I was actually getting into that. Any gather information checks about any of these targets. Show operates very similar to the way the Undermarket did. You remember when Zeiss, back whenever you first met Z, was doing some Undermarket checks because he had some basic ties to the Undermarket, knew how to get in, and how people kept looking at him strange whenever he came back. Pretty much, if you are simply by asking about them, by name dropping, you are going to draw attention to yourself. By repeatedly name dropping, you're going to draw a lot of attention to yourself.
Oh, no, I got it. Basically, asking where is this guy staying is pretty much a last resort for me.
Yes.
Part of the point
yes,
in mechanics terms is if you just say, I'm doing a gather information check, that is going to throw up flags no matter what you do.
Yeah. Something that will help alleviate that if I change appearance and become not the person that came into your hotel room, thereby disassociate, because we're in a separate town, right? We're in like a whole new town.
You are in the city of Machi.
That's a whole new town than what we were in before we went to the place. We're not in the town where we wrecked the airship.
That's right. That was in the
Okay.
capital city of Hebianto.
I can't remember the names.
I just like it because it was a major city that you did that in.
So, I can disassociate myself with you. You go and do this gather information check. You have then drawn attention to yourself. I'm not with you anymore because I look different, I sound different, I'm dressed different, I'm not staying in the same place as you are. Then you relay that information to me. If before I had Psionic speak, it would have been we would have had one of those clandestine meets, and you passed me the information in a sneaky way and hoped nobody saw.
Oh yeah,
But
we
now
did that
we can
actually.
now we can actually effectively do it, like with basically 100% success rate. You mind speak the information to me.
You know, I really hope
It's a
you guys
perfect
never
game.
lose that mind speak.
That would suck.
That's really bad. I think the only way we could lose it is if Fiona Seal died, right?
Anyways, so
Or revoked it.
continue.
Okay. So my plan is to essentially go out there and find out where he is, where he's staying.
Okay.
I will relay it back to Z.
Are you doing just plain gather information checks?
Well, I'd like to save the hey, I'm just asking where he is in for last. The first thing I'd like to do is actually like legit track him. You know, see if I can spot him. You know, things like that.
We've got a few out. You've
We-
got
we
basically
know-
all day.
We know kind of where he's going, so it's not a wild goose chase. We know places where he could potentially stay.
Okay. How long do you want to spend combing the town just looking for him?
Well, we know he's not going to be there during the day because he's on the job site.
Right.
Damn. You
So,
Well, if I can't pick up an obvious trail for him during the morning time before like everything really gets going and trampled, then we'll say after lunchtime, which is a couple hours from now, then I'll start actually essentially gathering information on him.
It's actually currently 11 a.m., just for reference.
Okay, so a couple hours, and then if I can't do that, then I'm like, we'll just try and find out general gather
Okay.
information.
Guido, what are you doing while he's doing that?
Guido, I don't really think you have a whole lot of part right now, so you would just kind of be staying back, maintaining base, making sure nobody got
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, I don't want to waste one of the daily charges on the ring, so I'll just be staying in the room.
Okay, makes
Thankfully, this
sense.
is like-
Wake up, Foot. Wake up. Wake up.
Oh, and it's one of the bad ones too. I'm gonna get like the pain in my neck again.
Oh, it sucks. Okay. 96.
And my foot is stuck. What is it stuck on?
What is your tracking plus again?
Against Mark, it would be plus 17.
That's what I need to know. So this is going to be plus that. All right. Wow. Would you like to blow an action point on that? Your daily action point for.
Can I help him with my gather information since we can
No,
mind
this is
strength?
tracking. This is tracking.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay. This is your social action point for the day blown, which will put it over the mount. Okay, so you're out and about. It's kind of roaming, and you roam around and kind of keep your ears open. And you're actually having really bad luck, all things considered, and you're just not seeing anything.
You're finding out all sorts of random crap about what people had for lunch, who they're seeing.
Yeah, you just get all sorts of totally useless information. We're going to go and update the timer here to noon, because that is what it is now.
Okay.
And right about... I've got a little time thing right here, in case you're wondering. I know you can't see it. But a little afternoon, a lot of people start coming in for lunch, as you might imagine. Tons and tons of people. And the throng of people gets so thick that it gets to the point where you start to basically lose hope, because there are so many people, there's no way you're going to see one Moorsman, which you have like 3 descriptors of, you know, amongst this mess, right? There's no way in hell. So you start to give up, and you decide you yourself are actually really kind of hungry. So, because that tigerfish, you only had like one fillet, and it's been a long 2 months, I guess, at this point. It's been a long.
Yeah.
However,
It's been a long since campaign started.
yeah. So you decide you're going to go ahead and head up to this one little cafe. Did I actually name the cafe? Yes, I did. It's called the Sleepy Wanderer. Okay.
Okay.
Now you go ahead and head. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the wrong place. You go to the Salted Salts.
Yep, that place looks better. We'll go there instead.
You change your mind at the last second, and that was the action point. That's what changed your
Okay.
mind. And so you headed over to the Salty Salts because you really like salty food, right? And so
Yeah.
you're thinking, oh, that sounds really good. And they do, in fact, have tons and tons of salty seafood. In fact, some of their specialties include literally just normal dishes and then adding huge amounts of salt to it. One of the things is they have like strips of, like, take a salt lick, but they finely cut it, so it's basically a strip of a salt, like, sheet of paper, basically. And they put fish on that, and then you eat it.
I've actually seen a recipe where they take an entire fish, like a salmon or something, and lay it on salt, pack it with salt, and then cover it with salt.
Oh my god.
And the salt cooks it.
Well, yeah, because that's actually how they used to do it back before cooking really was a big thing.
Yeah. So
I really like it because it lets me drink plenty of water.
Yes, they have tons and tons of water. They have juices. They have citrus juices. They have lots of alcohol too, which is kind of a trick because that just gets you to drink more. Would you like some alcohol or some juice?
We'll do juice. No drinking on a job like this right now.
Okay, that's probably a good idea, all things considered. Hey, I gotta look up the juice you're drinking. It's very important. It doesn't matter.
It's not juice, it's just water with salt in it.
Actually, they do serve salt water here. Apparently, Moorsmen are rather fond of just plain salt water.
Oh, thank you. Now clear out my nose with it.
Ugh. Oh, there's got to be a liquid in here somewhere. Hang on just a second. Okay, here we go. It is actually, it is pearl tea, which has been mixed with a little bit of peppermint, is the drink they've got right now.
Well, what a coincidence. Peppermint tea.
So you're enjoying your peppermint tea, and you're sitting there and you're munching away on the bed of fish I just mentioned earlier, and you look up, and he's right there. He's like 2 tables away from you, and he's enjoying a nice meal. What's he eating? Actually,
Okay.
Good.
That was in character.
I was gonna say, I think that was a character.
See, are you seeing this?
No, he's actually he's sitting by himself, but he's I shouldn't say he's sitting by himself because there's tons of people here. He's actually at the bar. He's not actually at a table, and he's just sitting there. And as you're observing, you roll a d20, and I don't even need to know the modifier because that's good. As you're sitting there, a giant d20 rolls across the sky, and you realize that the way the tender, who is a Sclavi woman, is treating him, it's pretty obvious he's a regular. And so automatically, you've gained your first bit of info, because this guy obviously has been coming here regularly ever since he's been on this job. And she knows him. She gives him preferential treatment. He tips pretty well, too. You see him leave a whole gold as a tip.
Oh.
I'm assuming you don't do anything until he's done, which is why I went ahead and skipped ahead to that factoid.
Right. Yeah. I'm not doing anything.
I got you!
Where are the drugs? Oh, wrong movie.
Swear to me! No, I can't do a Batman voice. Guido, do a Batman voice.
swear to me.
Very
There you
good. I like it. I like it. Okay, so he's right there. And then after he finishes his meal, which is just a little bit before you finish yours, he goes ahead, tips the gold, like I said, gets up, adjusts his outfit. And you notice his outfit is some kind of scale. It looks like it's some kind of fish scales. You can't actually tell exactly what it is. But it's obvious that it would function underwater just as well as above water, is the
I'm
point.
guessing it's freshly dried.
Yeah. And so he stretches a bit, and he says, "See you around, Mitrith." And then he kind of makes his way out.
Okay, I'll mind link to Zio Greedo and say, I found where he eats lunch.
I
I got a message.
can't look at that. It would ruin the cameras.
Oh, that's it's just funny. It's a bunch of people trying to play Pokemon through Twitch chat.
Oh, it's that thing again. Okay.
So I'm on link to Guido and Z saying, "Look, I found him."
Wait.
He's,
Hang on.
now we have to see if they're close enough.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I know what that was for. I'm assuming I still mind link with Guido.
I didn't say anything.
I said I found out where he eats lunch. He's actually sitting right in front of me.
It looks like this.
There we go.
You now know exactly what it looks like.
You know, looks like he's a regular here, so this is probably a pretty good place to catch him.
How much would Snark know about Moorsman in general?
He does know Serpent, and he has hang around Stonehold most of his life.
What is your int mod?
Int mod is 3.
That's enough. You can tell just by looking at him that our good friend Merc actually looks really young, all things considered. If you were to estimate, you'd say he was in his low 20s.
Okay. I'll say, really young guy. Shame he's got that discolor of the thing, but
Scale
we found
rod.
out where he goes.
Scale rod is actually what it's called.
Scale rod. So, is that enough intro for you, Z?
I wonder if he would eat here for dinner too, since he's eating here for lunch.
Good
We
question.
can find out.
Very good question.
Do you want me to... I can follow him and see, now that I've got a trail on him, but that's probably going to raise quite a bit of... That's really risky. Especially since I'm going to just be waiting by the water's edge for him to come out again.
Come on!
So...
By the way, just to make this point, you are the only knoll you've seen so far.
Oh, I'm pretty much assuming that no matter where I go and show.
Well, it's not always true. I mean, Hebe Toe was a melting pot. But here...
Sure, but,
Yeah.
you know...
A lot of elves here, though.
I'm assuming Caucasian in China.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him. Eat slower. How's your fish?
That's pretty... He's going to finish before I am.
That's long enough. I think you can start it now.
Right, so... Alright, I'm eating fish, and you get this mental image of him... You know that dog thing where they got like peanut butter in their mouth or something?
It's really salty.
You should probably take a drink. That's,
Oh, by the
my
way,
mouth is drying up just...
they have containers of salt on the tables that kind of look like this. And you literally just do this and pour the salt out like that. There's no filter, it's just a canister of salt. However, they also have different flavors of salt. They have types of salt. They have garlic salt, they have onion salt, they have peppered salt, they have herbesol salt, they have Olthoi salt. That
They have sodium-free salt.
They have sodium-free salt. You have to pay for the Olthoi salt. That's very hard to get down here.
I'll try a little bit of each of the free, you know, just to see which one I like the most.
Okay, hang on. Oh wait, you're not trying the Olthoi salt?
How much does it cost?
It's only a matter of money that I'm not going to even give you.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. The moment you taste that Olthoi salt, you don't like normal salt anymore because it just pales in comparison.
Oh. It's good.
You also
My grits could use some of this.
you also gain advantage on your next non-combat roll.
Oh. It's a really good salt.
And so Z, you get this just sudden impression of superly incredible salt, which is funny because you've actually had Olthoi salt before. Live, sis. Live.
Okay, so,
So you've had Olthoi salt, so you're just like, oh yeah, I know it's the best,
I
right?
will sit here and eat fish for a long time.
Are you linking with this to Guido too?
Yeah, unless I hate him.
Okay, Guido. This salt is crap compared to proper Lugian rock salt.
I'm going to send that back to him.
send him the mental image of the taste of Lugian rock salt.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, Lugian rock salt is really strong. Most non-Lugians can't eat it at all because it will literally burn their tongues. Literally.
Lugian salt.
Pick a number between 1 and 6.
3.
If this is a 3 or lower, you have... Nope, you have not.
Okay. Have I heard anything about Lugian?
Yes! It burns your frickin' tongue. It's one of the first things you hear when you do business in the Lugian areas. Don't try their salt! Or their alcohol.
I've had Lugian alcohol before. We already rolled on that one.
Yes, you have.
And I did good with it.
Yes, you did.
So you see, what we need to do is make Lugian alcohol out of Lugian rock salt.
Oh my god.
Um,
Alright,
Really good time.
I'm ready. And then they melt.
what's your 40K plus 50? Stay away.
Okay, you succeeded against the fortitude against the alcohol, but not the salt, so you are desiccated alive. Oh my god, okay. So, okay, what are you actually going to do here?
Well, he asked me to stay here and pretty much keep an eye on him.
And
Well, he's
follow him
gone.
when he starts.
He's gone.
Oh.
Want me to follow him?
He's
Yeah.
leaving.
Okay, I'll trail him. I'll go up there.
Stop
give him a
following
little
me,
bit
you frickin' knoll!
of a tip, because that was really good salt. Did they? Wait, can you buy a container of that salt?
No.
They don't have it here.
Well, I mean, they
They
do,
won't
but
sell it
they
to
won't sell it to you.
What about like a little container, like a 1 ounce?
You could try to steal
Of
one.
it.
No, that's. No.
You could.
You do
Well,
have
I could-
advantage on your next roll.
Yes, you do.
I have advantage to steal this. No, I have advantage to steal this. I have advantage to steal this.
Where's our Ulthoi salt supply? They're gone. Well, no, because yeah, your tongue is just like.
But you had advantage on that roll, so you could be, you would be very, very diplomatic and convincing that you.
Sir, I do believe that I need some glasses for my tongue, please. Except you're talking in serpent, so it's more like.
Please. All right.
Okay. So-
We'll finish it up, and since Z has asked me to follow him, I will.
All right. Are you
I'm going
trying?
to tell him, if you think you're spotted or anything like that, stop.
Yes. Exposing my stealth now. Yes.
Are you trying to stealth, or are you being spotted? I'll ask it that way because that's really how it's going to be, and you know this in character.
Well, Z, do you want me to? I'll see. Actually, do you want me to be spotted to throw him off your trail, or do you want me to keep on the lowdown?
Damn it.
Because this is all your plan. So I need to know what you would like me to do.
Well, he isn't suspicious of you right now, and we don't want him being suspicious of you immediately to throw him off my trail. But because he's not on my trail, I mean, the guy doesn't even know I exist right now.
Right.
So try not to be spotted.
All right, I'm stealthing then.
All right. What's your stealth?
It is 12.
Here's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting to know the path that he takes from this restaurant to the job site.
Actually,
If he's a regular, he'd probably take
I have advantage.
this is great because I can just demonstrate this. I'd pull out the board, but it would take some time, so just bear with me, okay? This is the coast, right?
Yeah.
Over here's the ocean. Okay, just establishing this. Coast, ocean, restaurant. He goes up, he goes over to the pier, he goes out into the water. Very simple. That's his path right there.
All
Excellent.
right.
Now, it is a very short path, so just in case you're wondering, this is about a city block right here, going north and then straight out.
Okay.
Now,
Stop following him once you get to the end of the city block. Don't follow him out onto the pier.
Got it.
god dang it. Good tip.
Automatic fail.
Automatic fail, it's a 1. But it's okay, because he has advantage.
It's automatic fail for the GM.
Yeah, it's automatic fail for the game, which means we automatically win.
Ooh, what's
'Cause you're
that?
Charlie, and
what's
you're
that?
constantly rolling against us.
It is plus 12.
Plus 12.
The Bloodhound thing gets advantage.
That's such a good point, because I know it gives to finding him, but not, I don't know if it's
No,
to...
it doesn't. It's not
Okay,
for-
okay.
so-
So, alright, that's actually not good
Does
enough.
marking?
I don't think he can mark yet.
I
18,
can.
19,
I get additional abilities as I go up in level. I don't have anything wonky yet. Like,
Hmm.
for example, on a 6th level, I could see him if he was invisible. but-
What is your awareness roll?
My awareness is plus 16 against him.
You are pretty certain that he has spotted you, but he doesn't seem to care that much. Yeah. He saw
Well, I
you
mean,
following him, but he's just like,
It's just a block,
eh,
so
whatever.
like, as I go through, I'm just like, glancing. Oh, he just jumped off the end. Because I mean, I'm a no. Like, I haven't seen something like that before. People just jump into the water randomly. And like, okay, then I continue on.
okay, say, whoosh.
But I'll mental link that back to both of you and say, here's his route. It's pretty short. I can see why he eats here.
It's good stuff. You gotta try it.
I'm gonna head back and go get myself some more of that Olfoy salt.
No, I'll actually see if there's a shop that sells different types of salt here.
There is.
Stop going looking for a
There
salt
is.
shop.
See if they have Lugian.
Okay.
Let's roll to see if they have Lugian. Pick a number between 1 and 6, Guido.
5.
Wow. Okay, they serve very, very small amounts of rock salt.
Oh, they've got it in the sampler size.
This is the equivalent of buying pure capsaicin, basically.
I'm confused. I don't know what that means.
They got some.
I kind of already described it, really.
Basically, it's the same stuff that they use in Mace.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
You
the
can find
kind.
it in a riot control shop.
I was gonna say it's the kind of stuff that stuff burns your tongue, right? If you put it on your skin, it will actually give your skin third, I believe, degree burns, or is it first degree burns? I forget which one is less.
Second,
Less is-
third is
yeah.
worse.
Third is worse. Okay, so I'm sorry, first degree burns on your skin just for having it there. That's how spicy it is.
You want some of this? I can pick up some for you.
Yeah. too.
Now this is actually going to cost gold. Even for that tiny, tiny little bit, it is actually going to be 50 gold.
Wow.
Oh.
I got that.
And Guido's response is, I think I can wait till I get home.
It's up to you, Guido. Because I've seen people try to eat stuff that is on fire, and it does not end well.
Yeah, because I just told Guido and Snarg that eating the Lugian rock salt will burn our tongues off.
Possibly literally.
Because I'm sure it probably has a warning label. Like the
Oh,
entire
God,
package
yeah.
has a warning label.
Well, no, it's kind of like here. Okay, this is about the size of the container. The amount of salt in it is enough to like fill out this tiny little corner, but it's just got this warning: this will cause terribleness and horribleness. You must sign a waiver before you purchase it, and if you do not sign this, we will not sell it to you. Any attempts to be, will be found by this. There's a magical sealant on this that has to be removed by the shopkeep in order to enable you to open this container. Just stuff like that all the way around of it.
Like the Attorney General's name under it and stuff.
Yeah. Tons
Which
and tons.
organization?
The show organization of Screw Lugians.
Okay. It's just second only to the Anti-Destination League.
Yes.
Okay.
As much as I would like to have,
This tiny, tiny, tiny smidgen
well,
of home.
forgive the pun, a taste of home.
Suddenly, Guido, without warning, you just take 10 damage.
Yeah.
What's really funny is I was going to say that earlier, but not recognizing it as a pun.
Oh my God.
Like that thought actually went in my head, and I just kind of stopped myself in the middle of saying it.
Wow. Okay, so
So as much as I would like to reminisce with the salt from home, I don't find it worth 50 gold, so I'll say go ahead and pass.
it is worth noting that little bit will last a long time. It's not like regular salt at all. And you know that, obviously.
Yes, but I don't have any way to. I don't have a salt grinder, as it were.
That's a good point. Okay.
I'm sure they sell some.
You could
Not
just
for
eat
Lugian
it,
rock
though.
salt. You could just eat it, like, you have wasabi, real wasabi, not fake wasabi, and you just go. I knew a guy who did that,
And then you
and
started
it was
smoking out your
hilarious.
ears and your nose and
He
your eyes.
actually ended up like, you know what? I don't want to describe it. It was terrible.
His nose was running.
His everything was running, including his feet.
Slumping in the floor.
His feet were very running.
He was lying in the floor crying.
Oh no, he was in motion. That was Wes, if you remember him.
I think you actually told me about it when he did it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Anyways,
If
okay.
you had my iPhone, you probably would have videotaped it while laughing maniacally. No, that would have been James. Here, give me the iPhone.
Yeah, you would have. Okay.
Well, I'll pass no looking salt right now, but
Okay.
I will pick up some of the local salts.
Okay. They do
I'm
not
sure that
sell. They don't sell Olthoi salt here,
I assume.
but
I'm sure they have the town specialty here.
but they do have a town specialty. It's called Machi salt. Now, there's no label, so you're gonna have to ask the guy if you want to know what that means.
I'll ask him. Said, "Oh, machi salt. What does that mean?"
Oh, well, I'm more than happy to tell you about that, good sir. He says in Undercommon, by the way.
Oh,
I'm more than happy to tell you about that. You see, my ancestors discovered that by taking some of the bits of ruin and bits of building that are down below the ocean and grinding them in a very certain way, it's a very difficult method, and it takes us hours in order to grind out even a few pinchfuls of salt. But the seawater has mixed within it in such a perfect way to produce the perfect salt.
Better than Olthoi.
Far better than Olthoi.
wait. So these
Where'd that voice come from?
No, I didn't hear it.
In your head, I'm your conscience.
Well, screw you, conscience. I'm trying to make a sale here.
You're selling buildings, you freaking cheapskate.
But yes, this is actually pieces of building that have been ground down to an extremely fine powder. It's probably, you know how normal salt, you can generally see the crystals? This basically looks like, talcum powder. That's how fine it's been ground. It's actually not that expensive. It's only 5 gold for the bottle. The bottle, again, is about this size.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead
But
and
it's
buy
full.
something.
It's full, yeah.
I'll buy a bottle from him,
Okay.
and I'll mark off 5 gold.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You won't forget it.
I've never heard of buildings being ground down. Is
Oh,
this-
trust me, it's wonderful. You should try it right now.
Oh, I need something to put it on.
Oh, here. And he just hands out a fish that he happened to have in his pocket.
Oh, okay.
It's still flapping around.
I don't know. I don't care.
Wait a minute. He pulled it out of his pocket.
I should have reached over to my stuffed animals and just grabbed
And
one
it's
at
still
random.
flapping around.
And just picked one at random because I got like a dolphin and a shark and a cat and a hippo.
It would be funny if you grabbed the Goomba.
Oh, I know. Here, I've got this. It's gone. What the hell?
Ding! See ya.
What? Thief. Okay, but no, he
Stocking all the bottles.
okay. So no, he doesn't actually.
Roll the coin.
He doesn't actually say you should buy it, and he doesn't actually pull out a fish out of his pocket.
Right.
Or does he?
No, I don't have anything to try it on, and I'll tell me, I mean, unless you prefer it plain. I mean, normally isn't this stuff better in food?
Well, I like it plain, but that's just me. I'm a huge salt fan. You ever been to the Salted Salt?
No. Yeah, I was just this. That's exactly the reason I came over here.
Oh, wonderful! I'll have to give you a bit of a discount then, and he gives you a bit of discount, which isn't gold worthy, because it doesn't change the price of that. But he does give you a discount on everything else. He says, feel free. We take references. We refer to them, of course. Tell all your friends the Salted Salt has wonderful salt. We actually are the supplier for all their forms of salt. Obviously, since we have Luki and rock salt here.
Right. It's really interesting how you get them from. I'd never heard of that before.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm sure you can't wait to try it.
This town?
Well, I haven't heard of anyone else doing it, but then again, I've been living in this town ever since I was born, and we've been doing it for the last several generations, so...
Oh, so it's a family thing.
Of course.
No. So do you actually yourself go down there and scrape off the buildings and?
Yes, I do. Every weekend. And by weekend, I mean weekday.
Oh, okay. Right.
Every weekend I go there. Bye!
So wait a minute.
My son's actually out there right now. I developed a bit of a head.
How familiar is he with the area? Has he?
Oh, he's really familiar. He goes down there diving all the time, obviously.
Is he going down to the same area that the inspector's going down?
That's a good question.
I'm actually mentally linking this to Z and Gwen. It's like, hey,
I
let's
saw
get
that
this-
guy that just jumped off
Oh.
the pier over there. What's he doing?
Basically.
What's he doing? Is that how you're phrasing it?
Okay.
What was he? I mean, he's
No, I'll
pretending
tell
to
you.
be the Knoll tourist.
Well, okay. Do you want to just roll diplomacy?
Yeah.
What's your diplomacy?
It is a 7.
Okay. So, you ask in extremely flowery terms, Sir, whither prithest thou? For information gathereth tine, for in informativeness.
Justice thee.
I'm actually screwing up. I'm actually usually really good at prose. Okay.
Please.
So, please, yeah, so he's like, well, I don't know who you're talking about specifically, but I'll tell you one thing. There's been a lot of work at what is a new ruin area that's been found. They've been digging through the ruins of the city that we know they're down there. Now, some of those buildings, were generally kind of just left alone. Me and my family were one of the only people who really investigated them and worked with them. But we do know that apparently someone went out there on an excavation dig not too long ago, only about a month ago, I believe, and apparently they found something of value under there. We don't know what it is exactly, but I imagine anybody who's going down that area right now is probably either working or investigating or whatever, that whole area.
Are you eating ice cream?
Yes.
I'm jealous.
Hang on. Guido, you now have disadvantage on all of your rolls.
He
Unless
has ice cream. He don't care.
I get ice cream. Sis, you need to go get some ice cream, like right now.
We don't have any.
That's what I meant by go get some.
I'm in my pajamas.
Snarg, if you go get some ice cream, I am going to kill you. In every game that you're in. Including the ones I'm not GMing. I will make it happen.
He just got ice cream.
Well, I'm afraid there's only one thing I have as a defense
What
against
else
this.
are you eating, Guido?
No, so, funny thing here. The ice cream was so frozen, it froze the spoon, and so when I first took the first bite, it actually ripped part of my lip off.
That's what you
So-
get. That's what you get.
Freezer.
Yeah. So my lip is bleeding, but I'm still eating the ice cream.
Oh my god. Well, it's okay,
That
'cause
actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
it's okay because I have a marshmallow. That's big, as you can see.
I don't have a marshmallow.
Well, okay, I'll save this one for you. You should come up and get it.
Speaking of which, it's like 11.
Yeah, we need to cut this off soon. Okay, so he tells you, that's that stuff, everything I just told you.
Okay.
I hate both of you. I hate all three of you. All three of you have something that I want.
I'm not actually eating the marshmallows.
Oh, okay. Then I hate you less. I
Les?
still hate you because you contain it.
Okay, I'm gonna come down there and shove marshmallows into your mouth. Just
They can be an epilogue. Just you coming in there.
okay, so what are you doing?
Well, essentially, I was like, well, talk to Z and Guido via my link, and I say, well, let me see if we can.
I thought you were going to talk to us out loud.
Sir, who are you talking to?
We're halfway across the city.
I just sit him there, look at the wall. Can I ask him this? What's going on? Okay. Hey, so I want to ask you. It's just like Clarence. No, yeah. Well, is there anything else you want me to ask him? I could see if we can get him to maybe let us go down there or something. Maybe he knows a way for tourists to get down there and see the stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be like, do you go down there on Sundays? Are you going down there tomorrow? Could you maybe show us? What's down there? How do you do it?
Well, I know how you do it, but don't read too much into that.
It's Minecraft, you just and then you get some salt.
You get a block of salt.
Yes, a block of
that's
salt.
We'll essentially ask him. That
That's
actually
why it
sounds
takes
real
them so long to grind it.
interesting. And
That's why it takes.
a bit. Is it possible? I don't know how I would get down there, but maybe you know ways, or you have tourists going in
Insert diplomacy roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
here.
what's that diplomacy? Because this is gonna be a huge DC.
7.
You rolled a 1.
Okay, I guess I'm not going there.
I'm actually with 7, you couldn't have made it anyways without an action point. Just occurred to me. I just did the math. And you already blew your action
Why
point for
is
the
it
day.
have
such a large
advantage?
DC?
Because there's no way in hell he's going to reveal his trade secrets of his family to anybody.
Oh,
I'm not asking for trade secrets. I'm just asking.
we're just asking what's down there.
Exactly. You're asking so you could try and find it, maybe find out where he gets it, maybe muscle in on his business. See where I'm going with this?
No.
would be very natural for him to think that.
It's not what we're asking, but it's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He thinks this is you trying to muscle in on him, and you rolled a 1, so he really genuinely thinks that now, and he actively thinks you are someone who is either working.
Trying to
Well,
get into the salt
he
business.
thinks you're working for someone trying to get into the salt business. He doesn't think it's you because you're a knoll and screw knolls, but obviously there's someone else in the area who's doing this. So he just kind of he gets this kind of angry look on his face, but then he tries to contain it and he does this and he says, "Sir, I'm sorry. I can't help you in this matter. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave, though. I need to go have lunch. I'm obviously lying."
Well,
He says that.
No, he doesn't say that, but he is obviously lying, and he's like, "I need to go get lunch. I need to close shop. Please leave, sir."
okay.
And the way he's saying it, you notice that based on the way he's doing the hand gestures, it's probably some kind of a signal, and it's confirmed because when you look around the bouncer, and I mentioned just about every shop in Shoteras have a bouncer, the bouncer is now looking at you. It just
Message received.
Don't forget to take your building ground up salt that you just
Oh,
bought.
I've got it.
oh, he's got it. It's actually quite good.
Alright, so
Round
I
up
eat and I
building.
start going back.
There's a reason it's good, though.
I'll go around town and, kind of, if somebody's calling me, I don't want to go right straight back to the inn.
Okay.
I'm actively already gone from the inn, by the way.
Well, okay, hang on. We need to find a good cutoff point. So, Z, what's your medium-term plan? Like for the remain? Because it's actually, I need to change the thing. It is now, it's not 1 a.m. I'm stupid.
Time advanced quick.
Yes, it did. It
He's
is.
like, oh, you really do need to close. Okay, alright.
I've been open all day as you've been sitting here eating my salt. It's 2 p.m. I can't believe I made the mistake. It's 2 p.m. So, what are your plans for like the remainder of the afternoon / evening? Or just the afternoon, just the afternoon. 'Cause you got like at least 3 hours to burn before anything happens externally.
Are there, in the area over by where the pier is, how many shops are there in that area?
All types of shops?
Yeah, of any type of shop.
And I assume you mean the pier specifically that he used.
Yeah, in that
5.
area.
5.
5. How many hours could I burn amongst those shops without spending more than 20 gold?
Probably about 24 hours, give or take.
Got it. If I plan
This
to
is not
hang
an
out
expensive place.
well, I was letting you know my gold cap.
As long as you're thrifty, you'll be fine for a nice long time.
I mean,
Okay.
visit a tourist shop, there's so many trinkets.
There are a lot of seashells and other little trinkets that are like
Let
2
me narrow
copper or
that
5
down then.
copper.
How many of those shops could I be in and feasibly maintain a cover of looking like I'm buying things while alternating through them while keeping an eye on the pier? My intent is I want to see him come out, then get out into a reasonable location to where I could.
We'll say 3, including the salt shop.
Okay.
One of them is a trinket shop, and by trinkets I don't mean gear, I mean, stuff from the sea kind of a thing. And the third one is actually a clothing outlet, which is why that will suffice for these purposes.
Okay.
Because you could spend forever in there. As long as you do some
Especially
dressing.
since I'm female.
Yeah. And you're an elf, and everyone knows elf females, oh, they just have the weirdest fashion senses.
Yeah. It should be noteworthy, brother. When I left, I changed my appearance. Down to I have not reactivated, but basically this entails too. I have disguised myself, but I have not reactivated make myself a little boy.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Okay, so that's what you're
My
doing until the
disguise
afternoon.
thing, it has a 24-hour turnaround. Once I've turned it on, I can't shut it back off again for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guido, what are you doing for the next 5 hours? I know
Again,
that.
staying in the room.
Okay, excellent. Because people will be coming to the room. We'll cover that next session. Snarg,
Yes.
what are you doing for the next 5 hours?
Well,
It's actually 4 hours, but whatever.
right. Well, I'll go around. Do they have anything similar to use somewhat of Mars from a rebreather that other races can use to go out and swim here?
Yes, there is actually basically a swimming shop, the kind of thing that where you get a snorkel and stuff like that in real life.
That's actually something you could do, Snargle. Following that original line, they might do tours, because this is a tourist town, of some of the ruins down in there.
They do, actually. However, this is worth noting, the difference in distance between where those tours go and where this place is a matter of miles.
Well, yeah, but I'm actually kind of curious about what the architecture is of these underwater buildings. What style of architecture? Is this something that is Burun architecture, or is this some other kind of architecture?
Okay, that makes sense.
Because I'm assuming I've never been to this town.
Oh, I
It
really,
doesn't
really,
seem
really
like
doubt
it
it.
is Under.
This place wasn't even that significant until about 15 years ago when they discovered that airship. It was just
Yeah,
another
so-
port town.
Yeah,
So-
I'm figuring. I'm kind of curious about it, just on a personal level.
Okay, so Snarg,
Not OOC personal level.
what are you doing?
Well, basically, going and seeing if there's anything. If we do happen to have to go down there, I want to see what we can use.
Okay. Well, they do actually have pretty standard rebreathers. Actually, if you've ever seen Episode 1 of Star Wars, the things
That's
they...
exactly what I was thinking.
those, in my defense, screw those movies. Now, and they kind of look... You see these marshmallows? They kind of look... I don't want to actually put them in my mouth because I don't actually want to eat them, but they look like this, and they kind of go here. And then they kind of go towards the camera like this, so you can see the marshmallows really nice and clear and how big and huge they are and how awesome they are, and sis, you should totally have one.
Are you done tempting me with marshmallows?
Well, not yet, but on the camera I am. They do have the rebreathers, pretty much exactly as described, and they do sell them for They sell them for a decent price, all things considered. That's actually at several hundred gold apiece, but they do rent them for such a little amount that I'm not even going to... It's below a gold. They rent them per day, basically. You get them for the day. You have to get them in by 7, which is basically when the sun starts to set.
Okay.
Because they don't want you swimming in the water after the sun sets?
Yes, for several reasons. One of the reasons is safety. As I actually mentioned bear sharks. There actually are bear sharks in the area. They are nocturnal. And they start to come out when the sun goes down, and bear sharks are actually pretty mean. As I mentioned, I do actually have stats on those. Second thing is they have certain mandates in order to ensure that people are out of the water, just to make sure that there's no problems with shipping, because virtually all of the major shipping that happens in the area happens after hours. That may sound a little weird, but it's the way they have a cyclical thing. You know, the ships come in and leave and come in during the night, but the ships that are coming in permanently, you know, who are doing a major shipment, they will come in intentionally early in the morning, like at 3 or 4 in the morning or whatever, unload. The sailors will spend their money in the town that day, and then they'll get back on the ship now that the cargo is unloaded and they're ready to go, and then leave that evening. Long story short, not a lot of... Yeah, exactly. Long story short, not a lot of sailing, shipping, or general naval activity during the daytime. But for safety reasons, they basically have to say, come on in during the evening, for both of those reasons. There's probably other reasons too, but those are the public ones.
Lifeguard not on duty, got it. Okay. I don't know about you, but something that allows me to breathe underwater sounds pretty freaking useful.
Yeah.
So, you said it's just a couple hundred gold?
It is, in fact, a number of gold that I'm going to roll for.
Okay.
That's how much
So-
gold it is.
My only question is...
That's not what I want to do.
Just the rebreather, the air.
Well, what it actually does specifically, in case you're curious, here, I'll demonstrate like this. Put it in your mouth, and you actually do inhale, and what the device actually does is it will actually take in water and extract the oxygen or whatever from that in, and then when you exhale, it'll push it back out harmlessly as bubbles. So it is something... my point I'm trying to make here is it is something you basically have to continually keep clamped. There's no harness, there's no nothing. You have to grip this sucker with your teeth, and if you lose it, good luck finding it again, especially if you're particularly far underwater and it's too dark.
Right.
And good luck making it to the surface.
Exactly. But it works really, really well, and in general, these kind of devices work like basically forever. I'm not even going to give you a number of years. That's how irrelevant it is. They will last forever as long as you treat them right. All right, they are going to be 290 gold apiece.
I could actually afford that barely.
You might be able to barter it down.
You might. What's that charisma mod?
Charisma mod. It is a +2.
If you want to say something clever, in
You
character,
may
that might
also
help.
use- Yeah.
If you prefer not to do the roll, because your roll was kind of terrible. It was so terrible, I would actually push the price up.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. By
Well,
40 gold. So they are now 330 gold, unless you'd like to say something.
Are we still mind linked?
Probably.
Okay. So with knowledge engineering
Mhm.
and use magic device, would I be able to assist him with lowering that barter?
Okay, so Snarg,
mhm.
you're like you're like saying things in this strangely different tone of voice. As you're like, well, I noticed that these are the
Mark II version.
these are the 1000 version, yeah, there we go, of the thing, and that brand's always kind of unreliable, and it's not exactly had a long and thrilling history. And I was using a Mark 17 10,000 myself, not a few weeks ago. Good stuff, and I just kind of want to try something else a little bit. I want to give that away as a gift to a friend, and blah 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 blah. And the guy's finally like, okay. I know they're not the greatest of models. We'll go ahead and lower the price by a very small amount. But you will lower the price by... Oh, never mind, that's not small at all. So 220 gold now. A piece.
Nice discount.
I'll go
That's
ahead.
basically as low as he's getting at this point, unless you get really clever again, because I always like to reward cleverness.
No, I mean, Star literally has nothing that he can add to this.
He does. You could pull out your sword and roll Intimidate, and then get kicked out by the bouncer. And then have the MP on you.
Once you get killed out, I tried to steal scuba gear.
That would be the
I didn't
best
try to
death.
steal the scuba gear. I just tried to.
I was just intimidating him. I wasn't trying to be a thief. It just kind of escalated from there.
That I wanted to pay less money.
And then hostages got involved. Oh, it was terrible.
I told him, give it to me or I'll kill you, and he took it wrong.
Just because I'm curious, I want to see what would happen if you did intimidate. Oh God. Oh my God.
What?
That's a 20.
He succeeds.
So,
The guy is so scared he
well,
can't.
no. See, the thing is, he would succeed completely, and the guy would be like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
please,
then I get the town guards out.
please don't hurt me! Oh God, he's gonna kill it," because he would be so terrified. And then, bad things would happen.
I'd be like, I won't want to have to buy another one of these for you.
So 220 gold.
Give me a buy
Yeah,
one get
I will-
one free.
I will purchase it. I don't ask if I don't have enough
Chking.
gold for anyone else, but if they want,
Would he
some,
give a discount if you were to buy more than one?
Yes.
By how much?
It depends on how many you're buying.
see, did you want one? Because here's what I'm thinking: this is not just useful in this town,
Right.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
we may be on some lacelles that are surrounded by water. So I'm thinking these would probably be pretty useful.
yeah.
And
the-
plus, Guido,
To buy one.
you fell off a boat.
Right.
Yeah.
Buy all three.
Guido actually was starting to pass out as he fell off the boat, if you remember.
Yeah.
That's what caused his...
So
Sinks,
Yeah.
Yes.
not
Yeah.
swings.
He swinks too. Swinking is when you sink with style.
is that what they do in the Olympics?
Only the sun.
Only the summer ones. Okay.
Yeah. The winter
But yeah,
is-
it's if you're going to go ahead and buy 3, we'll go and give you another discount that we're also going to roll for.
Synchronized sinking.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Wait, I'm
Drown
sinking
Ball.
Too fast. Kick. Okay.
Have you guys ever seen Drown Ball? Any of you?
No.
Oh,
Snark, you're sinking too fast.
okay.
Alright. Oh, ready for those belly flops? 100, the 10-foot belly flop.
600. Let's just round that off. He'll go ahead and round it off to a.
Start.
I'm gonna cut that from the video. He will go ahead and round it off to 600 gold, for 3.
Okay.
So 200 each.
Yeah, that's his,
That's reasonable.
that is literally as low as he's willing to go. By the way, I refuse to push it any further down.
Well, I'll tell him that. Okay. If you'll keep those on hold for me, I will be back in just a little bit because obviously I don't carry 600 gold around on.
Well, your diplomacy was really bad, sir, so I will keep them for 1 hour,
That's fine.
or else they might get sold. I have another buyer, and actually he does have another buyer lined up.
Oh, I'm not lying either. You need to get gold.
Oh, hurry, go!
I'll go get the gold.
Gold.
Guido, how much gold do you have? Because obviously he can't meet up with me right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're willing to front me until I can pay you back?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll toss in my gold, so you just have to get it for Z.
Okay, well in
Well,
that
that's good
case,
because he doesn't have enough money to get it for you. too.
just to make sure we're all clear on the paperwork, Snark, how much gold do you have total?
Well, before purchase, 273. After purchase.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and you subtract 200, you subtract 400.
I'll just subtract the 200 out of mine.
Oh, okay, then we're clear
Yeah,
then.
we'll just say that we cleared that later.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we're clear on the numbers, that's all.
I'm running 50, so hopefully I should be able to get it back.
And you run, well, hang on. There's one other thing that might interrupt this.
Okay.
What's your awareness, Snark?
It is a 14, 16 if it gets him. A magical beast. What?
Or if it's a magical
Or-
beast.
One of these
Look in the
days,
middle of town.
one of these days it will be a magical beast, I swear.
It was, remember?
Well, it has
You
been,
asked
yes.
him,
It has been.
Twice
If you're a
before.
ranger, it is your patriotic duty to mention at any time somebody is in this dish.
All I'm gonna say
Diplomacy against
is you
wait,
guys have been in
magical
urban
beast.
environments so much that that's why you haven't seen a lot of magical beasts. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's
Z, what's your awareness?
I have an itchy spot.
I don't know how to add that to 20.
Hold on, my awareness.
Hang on. Let me count it out. I have
17.
an itchy spot, which ironically is actually
It's not
15.
right. It's 18.
Oh, it's 18. Okay. Okay, so you're trying out clothes, as women are wont to do, and then you roll a 1. So I'm sorry, nothing actually happens that you're aware of. You're back. You buy the breathers. Everything's cool. Nothing's wrong. We're all fine here. Thanks. How are you?
What time is it?
It is now about 3 p.m. We'll go ahead and update that.
I just wrote this down as B Reader for some reason.
Speed breather times
Speed-
3.
There we go. And now we'll probably go ahead and call this a good time to stop before more events happen and you decide what you're going to be doing. So I'll go ahead and just say that was an awesome session. Lots of fun. Thanks for joining me as usual, guys. I'm going to go and do a here.